That might be
Some
it's a
great,
sandbox.
wide
It's a
shots
soapbox.
in this.
It's FanBox.
Welcome to the Real Study with your hosts, MrSniDBitS,
I was pleasantly surprised.
Black Girl Marvel,
I cried laughing. That was hilarious.
Tyler the Filmmaker.
It's like so much depth. It's like nowadays it's, you got A shot, B shot.
All the movie things.
There's some great wide shots in this.
Janine DeBean.
Each other. They just kind of look like they were having fun and doing their own thing.
Produced by Hyena. And me, the Real Study movie voice guy.
But this was the first time where I got to see it told in a way where I was like, oh man.
Let's go to the poster wall.
Hello and welcome to The Real Study. My name is MrSniDBitS, and with me, as always, is Black Girl Marvel, and we've got Janine DeBean. No Brian this evening, but he will be back with us soon. We do have a special guest who is one of our most common guests. This is MrMARVELite of It's FanBox, as well as the Nerd Initiative, and of course you can find MrMARVELite on all social platforms doing MrMARVELite type things, which is mostly Marvel related, if not film and television related. But tonight we are going to be discussing a couple films that MrMARVELite brought to us. He wants us to watch Hairspray, or discuss Hairspray and Wicked, two films that are both musicals, but also both about discrimination. So we are going to get into both of these. Do pay attention to our schedule in July. We will be doing a Man of Steel debate and viewing of the film. It's going to be a breakdown of how I feel about the film and then how everybody else tells me I'm going to be wrong. So we'll get into that when that happens. Yes. So before we do that, we're going to move over to the main wall, and we're going to ask La to tell us about social media.
All right, folks, we are here and we are real. Okay. So make sure. I just feel like being weird sometimes. But make sure that you follow us on all social media. If you are watching us right now on YouTube or Twitch, you should see our banner above that shows that we are on Letterboxd. We are on Twitch and YouTube and Instagram and Blue Sky and FanBox. And so join us on all those platforms. If you are not watching us on these platforms, do so. But if you are listening to us, you might be on our podcast platforms. We are available on all podcast platforms, whether that's Podcast Republic, Anchor, Google, Spotify. We are on there, so you can search for us on there. All we ask is that you join in on the talks, on the discussions. Follow us so you can watch the movies if you haven't seen them before, and join us in those discussions as well. You can join our Discord and make sure that you get in there and tell us any type of movies you wanted us to look at, or documentaries, because we haven't really done documentaries, and I wouldn't mind us doing a documentary. Instead of it being two, we could do a documentary and just kind of discuss that. I think that'd be cool. Possibly we could start with the Christopher Reeves one, but that's just my throw out.
I mean, that feels like that kind of fits right there in July. We'll find out.
I'm just saying, somewhere in the, I just throw that out there. But
be prepared to cry. Just saying, be prepared to cry.
I cried at Wicked, so it's all good. So but make sure you follow us on everything, and we also have our own separate social media channels. Make sure you follow us on there as well. But thanks for joining us. Back to you, MrSniDBitS.
I appreciate that, Black Girl Marvel. MrMARVELite, tell us what you are up to lately. So I know you've been doing It's FanBox. Let's hear more about that.
Oh, well, first of all, I mean, without saying anything more, I've been editing a lot of articles for MrSniDBitS, who's been doing a lot of stuff for us. But we are also doing a lot of podcast shows. We actually did an After Andor show last night, which I was not on screen, but I was actually doing the production behind. And there's a lot of stuff going on. There's talk of a Severance show. It looks like for May the 4th, there's going to be a Revenge of the Sith 20th anniversary discussion that's happening. We do TARDIS talks every Sunday, which we're doing the whole. We finished season 1 of the 2005 series, and now we are currently doing the Chudy era, and doing season 2 with him and having a blast. So that is available wherever you go with FanBox, as well in our podcasts. And then we'll be at some point doing a book talk on Sunrise and the Reaping. So we're working on that kind of stuff. So yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you telling us about that. Janine, you got to see a pretty cool show this weekend. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of the horror channel Dead Meat, and this Saturday they released their Dead Meat Horror Awards. It's an award short that I think this is their fourth one, that they started to honor all of the great horror films that have come out each year, and they decided to do a live kind of watch party event at a theater in LA. So I went down there to kind of basically watch the awards with them. You can watch the awards now. It's out on their YouTube channel because it's like a pre-taped thing. But it was really fun to sit and watch it with an audience. And then after the show, they kind of did a live panel with some of their judging pool that helped kind of pick the winners. And they kind of went through each category and talked about why they voted, how they voted for each thing. They had some really surprising presenters, like Patrick Wilson presented an award. A lot of great horror directors from these past years, Osgood Perkins.
That's awesome.
They were able to get some of the acceptance speeches from some of the winners, like David Dastmalchian. He won an award, so he was able to give a really fun acceptance speech. So it was really fun to kind of see like who was going to be there to present. And who was going to win, and get to hear them talk about it afterwards about, who they thought, why they thought, why they picked who they picked. So yeah, it was a really fun show, and I'm glad I got to go because I'm a huge fan of Dead Meat. So.
That's awesome. No, it sounds like a blast. I saw the pictures and it looked like it was a really good time.
Yeah.
All right. That said, we of course have I did notice something. I noticed that both MrMARVELite and Janine are rocking something related to Hairspray in the background. So we've got Janine running actually the DVD, and then we've got MrMARVELite with our banner, which I don't know how you got that before we did the show, but you do have it.
You can thank Aina for that one.
I had a feeling that might have been it.
Producer extraordinaire.
Yeah, man, on top of it.
Yeah.
And that's a great opportunity. Without Hannah, without Aina, we would not be able to do this show. So thank you every time for making this show possible. So we thank you so much. All right, so we've got a little bit of news. We've got a little bit of Oscar news. So we'll head over to the news.
Oh
desk,
Lord, is it what I think it is? Because I'm annoyed at this.
Yeah.
Now it's time for the real news.
So apparently there's a new rule in the Oscars that if you don't watch all the movies, you can't vote on the movies.
This is 2025.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Right?
This is 2025.
And there's now 10.
Just voting on
right?
vibes, like what?
Right.
It's been like I've always said, it's popularity. So y'all just been voting on popularity. It's like I like Jennifer Lawrence, so she should win because I like her.
Let me say this. A couple years ago we were out in LA right around the time of the Oscars, like just before. The amount of money that was spent on billboards, on promotions, on gifts to Academy members, it's never been about the actual films.
Never been about talent.
It's always been, because you'll never hear this film was so good the Academy is considering them. It's like, no, the studio has invested in this film being nominated. That's what they do.
Well, that was
think about it. It's all a sham.
That was Harvey Weinstein's whole thing. Like that's why people would thank him every year in their speeches, because he would help them run these huge campaigns for their films to get them kind of right in the spotlight to win.
Yeah. No.
But how is this not a rule since the beginning?
Exactly. So
that is the consensus across social media too.
Yeah, because I think what had happened was in a recent article, a couple anonymous voters had stated that they didn't have time to watch all the films, or they didn't watch all the films. They just picked like from the
you can't vote in. You can't
20 plus films, and they don't make them widely available. That's part of the problem. Is not anybody in the
but
Academy,
for them,
if you don't
they
have
get copies.
Oh, so this is just like is just like politics where they don't read the bills.
Friend,
okay, I got you. Okay.
Yes,
my
friend
Eric used to be
for different award shows.
My friend Eric used to be a SAG member, and he still gets like movies sent to him before they're even released. Like he had Harriet before Harriet came out.
I literally have a bag full of screeners that my friend let me borrow to watch, and she never got them back from me. So like that's not even a thing. Like that's not even an excuse that they could use. It's the Academy. They got the reels to this. Yeah.
Why haven't y'all been watching these movies? Like that's ridiculous.
Besides,
So
they're
basically, it
paid
sounds like
enough to
I
do
would
it.
kill to do that job.
right. I
Like,
want that
my
job too. But it
God.
sounds like the pool of people voting is
Janine.
going to drop because
That's
if
a
you didn't
fact.
watch them all, they're going to say no, you're not eligible to
that's
vote.
what
yeah, exactly.
listen.
So now it's
Now,
an
is that
official
per
thing. They
category?
cannot vote, or is
Yeah.
it just Best Picture?
Right. That's what I'm
Right.
wondering.
Now,
Because
but
10
I feel
films
like
is
it'll be a
reasonable,
more
right?
accurate. But I feel
I
like
would think
but
it would be
if it's your
everything.
job, I'm pretty sure that if you work for the Academy, if you're the one, what else are you doing? You don't work a 9 to 5. You don't.
Well, the
you not-
Academy
you got-
is
you're not working at
everybody
the-
within.
Yeah, but you're not
They're
working at the
mostly
bar.
industry people.
Yeah.
So.
But you're not
But
working at the bar
campaigns
as a 9 to
start
5.
early.
Right.
Campaigns start
Right.
early, so you have so
They
much
do.
time.
It's your job
Well,
to watch
and
the
they
movies.
they'll also release the films for like they'll be like, okay, hold off till October. Nobody release anything till October.
Yeah.
And then they'll start rolling out what they can and telling us all about it all the way until December 31st.
It's your whole job to watch movies.
If Tom
Just go
Cruise
watch
can
them.
go to a theater and watch Sinners, you can watch the movies nominated.
That's what I'm saying.
Academy
Yeah.
Award.
Yes.
You
That's
do
what
have
I'm
months
saying.
to do it too. Like it's not like
Yes.
it's not
And
like
it's
all
not
in
like
a
they
week.
don't have the money
you know?
to go to the theaters and see it. I mean, just get a
Right.
get a movie
Exactly.
class.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
But on top of that too, you don't even have to do that because they
you probably
provide
have
you
a
with
theater
the
in your
movie.
house. Yeah.
And
You
they
might have a
know they all have theaters in their
in
house,
your
right? Like
basement.
not huge
Come
theater, but
on,
they have big
that's
screens at least.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's
So-
absolutely ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
And now here's my thing: I'm hoping that because you can still say you watched every movie and still vote for who you want to vote for, right?
Right.
It's really not going to change the system too much, but hopefully it does because you might see something that you like. Well, dang, I really can't. Like, it compels me to. Hopefully, somebody will get like that.
Yeah.
But my thing is this: if you didn't, I'm happy that if you didn't watch them all, you can't vote. And for me,
Yeah.
that'll put better people in the position to
Well,
get
it'll
the
hold
award
people
that they were
to
supposed
more
to get.
account,
Better
right?
standard.
Because
Yes.
If
Yeah.
But here's the-
everybody watched the movie, Stephanie Sue would have won for
I'm
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I'm going to say this though. Let me ask you a question. How are they going to police this? How are
won't.
they going to? Are they?
It's
are
an
they,
on your honor thing.
Write a
There's no way-
summary.
you're not gonna
write
like.
a summary about the movie you just watched.
We
and what
we have
happened.
pictures of you
Let me pull up
watching,
IMDb.
Wicked in theaters. Now we know you saw
Yeah.
it.
But see,
Yeah,
my thing
it's
is this:
gonna be
you
on
can't
there.
How they
police
regulate
it.
this.
You can't police it. But if they do a thing where like they know for a fact that they sent out the screener to everybody that's voting, and then if
Read
somebody
receipts.
comes out.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying though, if you come out and say that like you cannot come out and say, well, I don't watch them all. Well, we give them all to you. That can already be an occurrence. You can't really
Ooh.
police it, but if you send it all out, like
Aina in the chat is
what
saying
Aina
that the
said,
software
yeah.
provides.
ooh,
Yeah, that's a
Right,
great way to
software
track
that-
it. If it
Aina
doesn't
said
show
the
that you made it to
software
the
that
credits,
provides-
Track the
minimum,
running
right?
time. Yeah, that you.
honestly,
Yeah.
I agree. It's a screener. You're able to program something in there to see if they actually watch it or not. Because
Yeah.
if Amazon can say I got 3 days to watch this little rented movie, and they can cut it, and they know I didn't watch it,
Yeah.
then I'm pretty
They-
sure the Academy can do something even better.
They
than
can
I
also
can.
track when you've closed out the movie, come back, even though you
But
watched your ads already, and then they'll run more ads
Exactly.
on you. And I'm like, hey, I'm right in the
Exactly.
middle of this movie now. Okay,
So,
what
so
are
that's
you
the
doing?
thing. So
Hi, Johnny.
Snippets, you know, both of us get screeners. We've gotten screeners in the past, and there's always like a limit of how many times you can view it. So that makes perfect sense. I think Aina's right on the money for it.
Right.
Absolutely.
We can hope it'll be great. So there is another piece of news. I didn't know this until tonight, or if I did, I'm a nerd. They're remaking or doing a requel of I Know What You Did Last Summer. And
Yes.
here's a still image from it. It looks
Well,
like,
we just
so-
got the first trailer.
right.
So we
So what do you guys
so we
think?
just got the first trailer. I'm a huge fan of this franchise because that was my intro into like really becoming a horror fan was teen
Oh, wow.
horror.
Okay.
So Scream was the first film, and from there I got
Absolutely.
obsessed with all kind of the teen vein horror movies, and then that was when I kind of opened the bridge to all different subgenres of horror. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of this franchise. I'm excited that these two are back. I mean, I think I would have
Agreed.
loved if
Agreed.
Brandy came back.
Come
We
on.
haven't heard anything. They've already kind of filmed, so I doubt that that's a thing unless they're keeping it undercover.
Right.
The trailer actually does reveal like
Too
a
much.
kill very like right in the trailer. So
Yeah.
like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Interesting.
So if you don't want to know anything, I would say don't watch it. But
you know, when we first watched Scream, and the whole Drew Barrymore thing at the beginning was like
yeah,
the most like seen part of the trailer.
yes,
You knew she was dying.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be early on in the film. But I
yeah. I
Plus, she
feel like
was
this is
the-
the beginning.
Plus, she was the highest budget person. They had to get her up out of there.
Yeah, we need to get her out fast.
quickly. Had to get her
Well, that
up
was
out.
her idea. That was her idea to play that part. She was going to be
Mhm.
Sydney, and then she thought, no, I'm the bigger name. People will be shocked. It'll be a whole kind of psycho thing.
I love that for her because Neve Campbell.
So
is
she made
Sydney.
that decision. She was huge
Because
in like helping
because
make that
her
movie.
shocked look on her face is like the main like image for
That's the poster.
series.
Yeah,
I have a
from that
bloody
series,
disgusting
yeah.
shirt with her face on it. Like chick's only in it for a couple minutes.
Right.
It's the whole marketing material.
Yes. So I mean,
Yeah.
if you feel like it's going to be a spoiler for you to see somebody die right at the beginning,
Mhm.
then I don't know how you'd feel about having that in the trailer.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's gonna be maybe like a copycat thing because I think it's still set in Southport. So somebody.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
So what are the odds?
I'm calling
of
it
a bunch
now.
of kids doing
I
the
know what
calling
he
it
same
did
now.
kind of
30
thing.
summers ago.
Yeah,
So
I'm
you have
calling
to
it now
convince
though.
me-
The
You have
killer
to convince me that
is
like.
the relative of the first person that died. I'm telling you right now.
Oh.
Well,
The
you'd have to
killer
convince
is the
me because I
relative of the
think
first
they
person.
do establish that these kids did something last summer that like nobody knows about or they think nobody
Right.
knows about. So what are the odds of a group of friends doing a thing
And killing
and
somebody
hiding it
again,
and
right?
then
And then
somebody coming out? Like, what are the odds of this
Right.
scenario? So
Scenario
you can have a
happening again.
copycat, but like, what are the odds of this scenario happening again? So
Yeah.
you need to make that make sense to me.
Yeah.
The only thing
Mhm.
I'm excited about is that Jennifer Love and
Freddie Prinze, yeah.
Ray, Freddie
Freddie
Prinze are
Prinze
back.
Jr. Yeah.
So yes.
Honestly, I
It's
didn't know that
great-
this was
oh.
a thing. I didn't know this was happening. I didn't know because I mean I should have known. They're remaking everything from our childhood. So
Yeah.
I should have known. I'm happy about Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. coming back because I like those two. But I don't think this needs to happen. Like this is to me, this is not one of those films that this is not one of those films that need to be remade for another generation. Like The Little Mermaid for me is okay to be made for another generation because you're switching up like the actors, the color of the actors, so like you're giving other like little kids
There's something
the
there.
opportunity to see
Something new there.
themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like there's something
And there's story you can expand
Exactly.
upon because they filled in a bunch of little gaps and
like gaps and stuff like that,
Yeah,
right?
the expansion of Eric was
That's it
great.
for
I
me.
liked
Yeah,
it.
Right.
loved that.
That's great for me. But for I know what you did last summer. Like
Okay, so
so you telling me
Law?
another group of white kids kill somebody?
Yeah.
Yes, and so
on
I
this
know, and like
screen.
It's pretty common.
so I mean
Yeah,
I
it's
think
very
they maybe
common.
feel like
Yeah.
depending on what the
Very
And
story
they think they
is.
get away with it.
Yes,
Very
depending
true.
what the story is, the ending of the second one was very ambiguous. Was it a dream?
Wow,
Did it
that's true.
actually happen?
It happened.
So I
Yeah.
mean, if that has to kind of wrap into the story, then that might make sense. But from what I've seen in that trailer that came out recently, I don't know that that's even a part of the story. So
Oh,
That's
they're gonna
just odd.
scream
it
it up.
feels
That's
like
awesome.
a copycat because we
That's
have
just
Freddie
odd.
Prinze kind of coming into like this town meeting and saying
Right.
this has happened before and this kind of thing. So depending on how the execution, I think maybe it could work, but right now I haven't seen enough to make me feel 100% confident on that.
So have you seen the third one, Ginny?
No.
There is a third. I
yes,
know what you
there
did
is.
last summer. Yeah,
And it has
low
nothing
budget.
to do, and I don't think it has anything to do with the first two.
No,
It's
I
low
passed that up.
budget. It's
I watched
yeah,
the first
it-
two. The first two are classics
Mhm.
because Brady was alive, baby. Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
there's a TV
First
series
black
too?
girl that stayed
What the
alive in a
hell?
horror.
Yes, and it got canceled pretty quickly. I think I don't
As
even
it
know if they got
For good
a full
reason.
season. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically they made a failed TV show, and of course they didn't know what they did last summer, and they decided to make a remake of the film because obviously the show was
They
successful.
forgot.
I will be honest with you, I only know about this. Now Freddie Prinze Jr. is married to, I think it's Sarah Michelle
Sarah
Gellar.
Michelle.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
They
I
met
was
on the
going
first movie.
I was going through
right in
social
there,
media.
together.
I was going through social media, and all of a sudden, I'm looking at this thing that says Sarah Michelle Gellar says that the thing that's kept their marriage alive is that they have separate bedrooms. And I'm like, why is this relevant? Why are we talking about these people again? And then I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, I know what you did last summer. That's why.
Well, and Buffy
So
is
that's
Ah,
the reason
that's
why I'm
very
getting a
nice.
reboot as
yeah,
well.
I knew-
Yeah, and
Buffy's
Buffy's
getting
getting
yeah,
like
she's
a
gonna be in,
continuation
yeah.
or whatever. Or
Yeah.
however you
And
wanna-
she's
like-
been in a couple of movies lately too. She's starting to step fully back into it. So
Mhm.
we'll see where that
She
goes.
took a time because like a couple of the shows that she's been in have been like flops. Like she was in
Right.
that one twin thing on the CW, and it kind of like didn't
Well,
last
and then the
that
Robin
long.
Williams
Then
show
the one
that she
thing with
was
Robin
on
Williams
flopped,
show
and-
that didn't last.
yeah.
Like
And
flop.
then
So I
like
think
there was
she-
that werewolf show.
Well, she
yeah,
did a
Brady
really
like that
successful
thing. Yeah,
cameo
like-
in Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, like that Teen Wolf.
Episode
Well, like the
last.
final season, like the last
Right.
episode.
Oh, you know
The
what?
last half of
Her
that
appearance,
episode.
her
even.
appearance did end the show. Never mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, now
That's what I'm
She-
saying.
on that Dexter
I'm
prequel
saying.
show. And I, just
Yeah.
mentioned he just got
Yeah.
announced to be in Ready or Not too.
Ready or
So
Not
that's a
too.
huge thing. So
I'm not mad at that because I would personally like to see her do more than because right now my brain for her is of course she was in the Scooby Doo films, but she was still kind of Buffy like in those films in my book, and like she carries that character very deeply within her. So I just want to see Sarah Michelle kind of like be outside of that, like and just do something different. Not to say she's not a good actress, but you know,
even in I Know, people were like, we didn't want her to die. Like she is one of like the harshest. Like we wanted her to be.
Yeah, we didn't want her to die.
Yeah.
But see, like even her name, I don't think would be even a big pull for Ready or Not 2. I think for her, for that movie, it's gonna be Samara Weaving if she's doing her thing. It's Samara Weaving, right? It's the name.
It is, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, because like she kind of just fell off the face of the planet for a little bit, and I
think Sarah Michelle will be a bad
Sarah Michelle
guy
Gellar
in
is still her name is still like a draw.
She's a pop culture kind of iconic thing. Like the Scooby-Doo movies were huge.
Yeah.
Buffy
was
huge.
She's a pop icon at this point. So like she's her name carries weight. So
it does.
Yeah, except for I remember my Buffy being Alicia Silverstone.
No. Your Buffy was Kirsty Swanson.
Which means that you didn't have a Buffy, so
right.
you
And
didn't know her.
Glad she's not Buffy anymore.
Goodbye. I'm leaving.
I love that movie. I saw it in theaters. So
I own that movie. That's my movie.
Okay,
me too. I own it too.
That movie alone is like Paul Rubens at like peak Paul Rubens. So like
and Luke Perry.
But I'm a cosplay her. That little white dress with the leather jacket. Come on, baby. If that ain't a look, if that's not a look, I don't know what
it's a look.
Right?
It's a good look.
It's a look.
Yes.
Yeah, Pike is a
with the boots.
Shout out to
Pike with a little
so
like Pike actually you can read about Pike's demise in one of the comic books. He actually they continue on after the movie. So
they bring back everybody.
That's why he's not in the show because he died. So I think spoiler alert for a 20-year-old
comic. They bring
book.
Whistler back or like whoever that dude is, like they bring him back in the comics, I think, or something like that, and like kill him off. It's
Donald Sutherland.
Oh yeah. The first watcher.
The first watcher, yeah.
All right. This is not a Buffy show, although it could be, because there are some fans. There are some fans on this panel.
Oh, I love Buffy, man. We can talk about that all day.
I don't know if anybody. Anyway, moving on. So we have some movies that were watched this week. It sounds like there were at least 3. We've got 3 that were watched this week. MrMARVELite, you got to see again. It sounds like a maybe again, and like you regret it this time, but it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
2?
Out of the Shadows. Yes.
There we go.
Not by choice. Not by choice. My son is a Ninja Turtles fan. And it seems like whenever we're like sitting down, if we're not like demanding the television, then we're going to end up watching something, whether it's the animated shows or this thing. This thing.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a big Michael Bay fan at all. I think I liked Bad Boys, but after a while they kind of got redundant. And then, of course, the Transformer films just completely ruined me. And I've told the story before. The reason why I even think about like Dark of the Moon, which SniDBitS would agree is a terrible name. I was in DC at the time that they were filming it. A car pulls up and right in front of me, Michael Bay gets out. I was within spitting distance, and of course, I never I didn't shoot my shot, and so I regret it every day of my life that I didn't spit on him.
No, wait. You said spitting distance. You didn't shoot your shot and like, hey, or you didn't spit on him?
No,
I didn't spit on him.
He didn't spit his shot, man. That's what he meant.
So like I would before Hawk Tua, it would have been a Hawk.
You would have been the original Hawk Tua. I got you. All right. So what do you rate it? Can you just rate it?
Yeah, can you rate it?
Okay. We've got Stephen Amell. We've got the overused, sexy trope of Megan Fox.
Oh yeah.
We've got Tyler Perry, which there was a conversation about Tyler Perry.
Yeah, Baxter
Stockman. And I will say the only thing is
so goofy.
They recast Shredder in this, and I felt so bad because I met Brian T.
Did they really?
Before he did this, because if you remember Tokyo Drift, he's the DK before, and I met him at AwesomeCon about a year before the movie came out, and he was super excited about it. I felt so bad because he sat down and like talked to me about the film because nobody was coming up to him because nobody had no. He's like, oh, next time I come to this, I'll probably have a line. I'm like, I felt so bad because it didn't do it for him.
Didn't happen. Oh God.
But
it wouldn't, unfortunately. Yeah.
and I mean, like, I was so excited because Bebop and Rocksteady looked semi good until they opened their mouths, and I was just like,
no.
oh.
Then they felt hollow, right?
And then Craig, and
the moment I saw who they cast as Bebop and Rocksteady, the moment they started talking, before they even transformed, I said, this is going to be terrible. Because their energy as actors, well, I know that one was like a wrestler or whatever, but like the other, like the black guy, I've seen him in a lot of stuff. I don't really much like him in a lot of things that I see him in. Because to me, he always has the wrong energy for what people are looking for. What I think the character should be.
Is Uncle Ruckus and Boondocks?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep, that's him.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So if I could give it a negative, I probably would have. I'm going to say it's.
Remember, our scale is from 1 to 10. So
right.
Did you like anything about the first one?
Nope. No.
It's a sad thing because I own both of them.
So together they're a 1. Is that what you're saying?
What's that?
Together they're a 1, like both films become a 1.
We'll go there. Yeah. It's my kid loves it, so I'll give it a 2 just for that purpose.
Oh, see,
that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
I'll at least watch it for him. It's what they call the labor of love for your children.
That is a labor of love. Yeah,
parents suffer for their children, and that is my suffering. So
yeah,
yes. I actually enjoy. Like I'm not gonna say I enjoy them for what they are. To me, they aren't Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle films. They're just turtle films, and like that's how I look at it. Because none of them are teenagers. They're grown men. Okay,
so there's mutant turtle films.
That's why I like the newest ones because they actually finally feel like teenagers. They're voiced by like younger people with higher voices.
For me,
listen,
Mutant Mayhem is the standard for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Anything.
But you got Reacher voicing one of them,
and he looks like him.
He looks like
you can tell.
It's mocap. It's all mocap.
Okay, listen.
Yeah, even the like '90s ones, they felt like they weren't.
They
teenagers.
felt genuine.
They weren't. They were grown men in them suits.
Now listen, I am very partial to the original live action films, mainly because they kept that they were more closely in line with the comic book than anything we've seen at all. The thing for me was the first film became too much Transformers because of Shredder's like the entire augmented suit. And then the second one, like they took everything that was loved about the cartoons and said, we're going to give you enough of a tease with Baxter Stockman Krang, Bebop and Rocksteady, and we're going to completely just rip it out of your heart. And it's not going to be anything like it.
But everything was juicy in that movie.
Shredder in the first one, so we're going to like now give you everything that
think about it
from your nostalgia of the cartoon, and they just did not.
You making a face, but Krang is hella juicy. Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean that makes sense
juicy.
to a degree.
The turtles are also juicy because they're like mutated. Like they have like slick skin, and I was like, you didn't have to do that. They have a glisten to them. And
I have not watched either of these movies for all the reasons that MrMARVELite has already said.
So bad because I need all your words on it. I know they're going to be hilarious.
They're going to be harsh and mean,
and we need them in this world, right? Before the world was created, we need you to.
Do you want to read the thing that I said the worst about a movie this year? Go read my review of Trap, and I eviscerated that film in a really mean.
Now I need you to do that with the Turtles movies.
I tend not to like to do that. I watch movies because I'm excited about them, or like medium or indifferent. So then when I do watch something I don't like because it's accidental, like Trap, I was like,
I am a fan, and I'm requesting these 2 films from you.
Let me also say this.
Shit. Okay.
They even crap on the turtle the turtle van. Like they don't even give you the turtle van.
Yeah.
They give you like a Tortuga food truck. Like it's ridiculous. They just every opportunity they just kind of like completely.
They got my man's what's his name? I don't know his name. What's the comedian? The dude from SNL or whatever his name is. I don't know
the dude from SNL. 50 years of SNL.
Yeah,
he's the voice of Batman.
Yeah, what's his name?
Like Lego Batman, not real Batman.
Yeah, Lego Batman. I can't remember.
Will Arnett.
I kept wanting to say Will Forte, and I'm like, that's not the one, but I know it's Will. I just
but Will Forte.
Will Forte is, but Will Arnett in this to me was the equivalent of any human that's in a Godzilla film. You're unnecessary. Like he's absolutely
they were giving him a lot. They were like, he could be our plucky comic relief.
He's the nepotism baby of the group. Like that's just all he is.
And I was like, why is he here? He really didn't facilitate anything. And like for the most part, April is quite capable. It
But
shows that
it's
she's quite
another
capable.
it's
But it's just
another one of those things
unnecessary.
where they gave you another character from the cartoon that
Yeah,
was
true.
supposed to pull because he's Vern, and so you're like,
Yeah, true.
hey, this is we're gonna get this, and like I wasn't even upset about the Whoopi Goldberg being like the editor for the
Yeah.
news station. That
Just
wasn't the
gender
problem,
swapping
but
her,
the fact
yeah.
that they made Megan Fox such a stupid April O'Neil that everyone was just like she's crazy
Yeah, she's
because
not.
she
She's
thinks
not even. But she's not.
Wait.
Here's I'm
she pulled a Shia LaBeouf in
I'm gonna step back.
Transformers.
I'm gonna step back
Megan
and look
Fox
on that.
plays April O'Neil.
Yes,
Yes.
darling, where you been?
You didn't know that?
Kitty.
This
I am-
request is not
I am
happening.
offended
There was a
by
glimmer
the
of a chance
existence
of
of
it. Your
these
It was
request
films.
the
Yeah.
box,
moment it
but
happened.
No, it's not like I don't
that.
like Megan Fox. If you want to watch Jennifer's Body,
That's
Megan
so
Fox
sad,
is
Janine.
fantastic in
I'm
that,
so
and like
sad.
I
she
actually
can
watched a
do
really
really
good
really well.
Netflix movie with her recently.
Yeah, she can do really well.
No,
So it's
but
not
here's
her,
the
but
thing-
just
but here's
like
the thing- but here's the thing
casting
about
matters.
Here's the
You
thing
know,
about her, April O'Neil, right? I feel like she's not like an adult realized April O'Neil. She still feels like
yeah,
a
she's
junior,
like a boy's
Yeah,
fantasy.
like
Yes.
a
Like
junior.
her whole thing is she's
April
frustrated
O'Neil,
because they're giving her these
right?
light, like
Like
fitness
these like little
stories
puff
and
pieces, and she
puff
wants to be
pieces, and
like
she wants a
Yeah, so
hard
she can jump on a
Right.
trampoline because you know that's exactly
Yes, so that's the
like,
story she's
I'm
working on. Is
screaming.
us
Well,
getting
I
to see
mean,
her
I guess
bounce on a little trampoline.
we know the target
Yeah.
audience, right?
No,
We know
absolutely. The target audience is young
Like,
boys and nobody
Right.
else.
the way
Like,
she
the target
decided to go back and work with that man after
I
all
don't
of the
know.
things he put
After
her, I don't.
everything, right?
and you know when she was jumping on that
Think about
trampoline,
it.
she goes,
She
"This is
was
my penance."
she didn't do nothing for a long time in between the movies. Of course, she went back to that man to get some money. Like
That's fair.
She
baby
got
girl was
kids.
baby
I
girl
might
was
watch
good,
them, Law.
like,
I mean, I need a long list of
And
movies for
here's
this
the
year
thing.
anyway, so it
Stephen
makes
Stephen
sense.
Amell is
Throw it in
Casey
there, man.
Jones.
Yeah, I don't like him
I
either.
don't like him
so.
either. Yeah,
Didn't like him at all.
he's
I don't-
terrible.
I've never heard
like-
his last name pronounced.
He was in,
Glimmers,
he was yeah, I've always heard it
I
Amel,
never
but
will call him
hey,
whatever.
it doesn't matter.
It's a male, and honestly,
I don't care.
he's the worst
His
actor.
cousin, his cousin is
After
much
the
worst
better.
strike, listen.
No, his
After the
cousin
strike,
is a
better.
way
I don't care.
better.
I prefer him.
His cousin
Yes.
is a way better actor than him.
Right.
Way better actor. And Stephen Amell is a trash actor. He's Oliver
Trash
Queen in
human.
everything he does.
Trash human. Yeah, he's proven that.
He's
a-
oh my gosh, I can't anything
Yeah.
he's in. I watched one clip of him from Suits LA, and I was like, go away.
And you love Suits.
And I
Anyway,
love Suits.
We don't want to get on a Suits diatribe.
Sorry.
We will go way off
Yes.
the rails. Janine,
32
you
minutes
watched
in.
Novocaine. You want to tell us about
Ooh,
Novocaine?
how was that? Yeah.
Yes. So Novocaine, a really fun movie with Jack Quaid. He's this person who has this disorder that, I assume it's maybe a real disorder where you can't feel pain. So the way they kind of illustrate that is really fun. Like you kind of just walk with him through his house and you see like tennis balls and like rubber stops on corners and all these kind of little safety precautions so he doesn't hurt himself. Like he can't eat solid food because he might bite his tongue off and not feel it and bleed to death. So all of these kind of crazy things that come with this disorder that he has. So he's very kind of, to himself. This girl that he works with is she's new there. He really likes her, played by Amber Midthunder of Prey. So I was really excited to see her in this movie.
Okay.
They kind of strike up a cute little romance, and then she gets kidnapped by some robbers who rob the bank that they work at. So he decides, the cops aren't doing what they need to do to find her. So and I think one of the cops is Betty Gabriel, who was in Get Out and in one of the Purge election year. So I really love her. Liked seeing her in this film. And so he decides to go after her. And so he ends up kind of using his ability to not feel pain to kind of fight against all of these people to get to her. So it's kind of fun in a Final Destination way. And the fact that Final Destination, you're waiting for the next cool creative death. In this film, you're kind of waiting for the next kind of cool, crazy, creative way he hurts himself and he doesn't feel to get to the next step of finding this girl.
Oh,
so that's
it's
kind of the fun journey you go on with this film.
It's kind of like Crank. in a way.
Yes, it gets kind of crazier and crazier, and like the amount of things that he has to do, and like the injuries he sustains. He sticks his hand in a deep fryer and crazy things
Oh
like that.
God.
Yeah, so
And
you
it's
get to
graphic,
see.
like R-rated
Yes,
graphic. Okay,
yes,
nice.
you see all of kind of the injuries he sustains as he goes through. Jacob Batalon is like this online gamer friend that who he's never met in person, but they're like kind of good friends and talk online all the time. And he's put on this really cool persona, like he has a motorcycle and he gets all these hot girls and all of these things. So while he's trying to find this girl, he kind of calls him in for help. And then when he meets him, it's Jacob Batalon, aka Ned from the Spider-Man movies.
Man in the chair.
Yes, and he's pretty much man in the chair in this film as well, kind of helping him
he got
figure out this
typecast.
whole
Poor
new career.
guy.
Yes, but really funny in this movie as well. So just a lot of fun, kind of nonstop once we get to kind of this aspect. Of course, our villain, I feel so bad for you, Ray Nicholson. Your face is going to forever relegate you to villain status. He's the one who covers in this film, so he's kind of like our villain that we are trying to find in this movie. But a whole lot of fun, nonstop. Jack Quaid is incredibly likable in this film. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with Novocaine. It's really silly, kind of crazy, but it's kind of just nonstop fun.
All right. It's been on my list, so I'm excited. I'm glad to hear good things about it. I got to see Heart Eyes this week, and I wasn't sure what to expect, but I'll tell you, I was pretty impressed. This is a movie that takes two genres you would never put together and blends them beautifully. You've got a slasher film with a rom-com, and they're both making fun of both of them in a way, which I think is great. And it's a actual like laugh out loud funny, but it also has some pretty ridiculously gory scenes. So if you're not into gore, definitely avoid it. If you're not into rom-coms, watch it because you'll love what they do when they make fun of every rom-com ever made.
Yes.
Flat out. It's great. It's acted well. The actor that plays the male lead, I always forget his name, but
Mason Gooding.
Thank you. He is great. Like there's something about him. I think he's going to go a long way, and if he keeps it up.
I mean,
and then
he
the
got some good
girl,
genes.
right? And then the girl. Oh man, I'm terrible with names sometimes, but they both do a fantastic job. You can tell the chemistry, which is of course what the film is all about.
Olivia
the fact
Holt.
that they have, thank you. They have chemistry, and you can sense it, which means that of course, if you can, then the killers can, and and so you get into that. So it really
That's
is
the girl
a
from
thing.
Cloak and Dagger. Is that her?
Yes, she plays
Okay.
Cloak, or no, Dagger. She plays Dagger. Sorry.
We get Devin Sawa in there. We get Jordana
Right?
Brewster as well.
Which
supporting
is
cast.
so great. Right? Yeah, Sawa plays a cop in this, which is interesting.
Jordana Brewster. Her character's name is
Brewster.
Janine, so I like that
Right.
part of it.
Oh, do you today? Do you?
And it's one of those films that's a self-aware just enough.
Yeah.
But you couldn't, if you weren't like really paying attention, it would go along as a normal film. So they hit the beats really nicely, kind of matching between satire and just playing the film straight, which is a really fine line to walk, and this film really does it. So I expect there'll be a sequel, because why wouldn't you? Why? I mean, why not?
So it was so fun. This was a really fun surprise. For me, I always describe it as like it was a rom-com that just kept getting interrupted by a horror movie.
Right, I've heard it described that way too. I like that.
Yeah, so just really fun. Like I loved it when I saw it. I had a blast with it. Super silly, knows what it is, know what it's trying to do, and it just kind of pokes fun at all those kind of little tropes.
But it also, you can tell where it gets its inspiration. Like the mask is very like Jason, like, but it's not, but it is. And then the different weapons that are used are almost throwbacks to like Scream and Jason, and such. So like it really does a good job with all of that. And I don't think it ever goes so far off the rails that you're like, oh, this is ridiculous. I'm like, no, I buy this all the way to the end. I'll take it.
Yes, and decent gore, as you said. So
right.
Yeah.
So yes, give it a watch.
One of the producers on that film is Christopher Landon, which is Michael Landon's son.
Yes.
Interesting. That's wild. It's so weird how it all all these movies.
No, I'm just realizing. I'm not just realizing, but I've realized over my years of watching film and just like actors and watching interviews that like Hollywood is a place where like you meet connections because everybody's related to somebody, even if it's like somebody that's been out since the 90s and you see somebody in 2025, they're like, oh yeah, my cousin is so and so. You be like,
oh yeah, I mean what? Haley Steinfeld, her uncle's Jake Steinfeld, like Body by Jake from the 90s.
You know me? Like what?
Right? That's wild.
Like, okay.
That's wild.
Yeah, aka cab driver in Coming to America.
There was one other piece of news that I didn't say, but it's really short, but I just thought it was interesting. It's literally from Wyatt Russell, since we're talking about Nepo babies already with Novocaine and Jack Quaid. Wyatt Russell joked that on Avengers Doomsday, the media training included a, quote, knife to the neck about keeping spoilers from being shared. And they said, if you say anything, it's over for you. That's what they said.
Oh gosh. Okay.
I was like, wow. But I mean, we know
But I
Tom
get
Holland
it,
did that to
though.
everybody.
Tom
Without
Holland,
Tom Holland, I
freaking
wouldn't have had that problem.
or Mark Ruffalo streaming the whole movie with the
Both of them
lives
too,
going in his
yeah.
pocket.
Oh, with
Yeah.
Ragnarok, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but Simu Liu was actually talking about it. And he
Okay.
said that they don't even know what's going on while they're filming beyond what they're doing, and he said that's all because of Tom Holland and Mark Ruffalo.
It should be. That's hilarious.
Yeah, they ruined it for everybody.
Yeah. But from a fan perspective, good. Don't. If anybody's going to spoil it, it's going to be the jerks that watch it opening weekend, and we're used to that. We at least know how to deal with them.
But see,
but we can't help.
but what's interesting now is it causes a problem, because if you ask the showrunner, I think it was for Daredevil Born Again, he has no idea why Marvel added the Spider-Man theme song at the end of the episode of the finale.
But it's Spider-Man's world,
But Spider-Man's is supposedly not allowed to be on a Disney Plus show.
Yeah, whatever.
So
at this point, Sony, sell Spider-Man back and get out of the game. You guys make
Yeah.
the worst movies ever made.
The
when it
only
comes
good
to
things you're
superheroes.
making are the Spider-Verse, and that's
Right.
it.
it's Morbin
you
time.
stay out of stay out of live action, Sony. You don't know what you're doing. You have no clue what to do with these characters. Like, yikes.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah. No, nobody wanted to see Pollux Troy as Rhino. Nobody wanted to, nobody wanted to see that at all. He's much better as an egg-stealing paleontologist. I'll just say that.
Yes.
Anyway,
Alan.
so we are going to get into the next movie, or into our movies. The first movie is, of course, Hairspray. Rob will join us here in a moment. But Hairspray was one that MrMARVELite suggested. This is actually a movie I have never seen, which is getting
That's
rarer
awesome.
and rarer. So I assume both of you have seen it.
Yes. I
Now,
own it.
Law may or may not have, but yeah, you
Have you
own it,
seen
right? You have it right there.
the original John Waters version?
No, I have
Ricky
not.
Lake?
Right,
No.
I have not. But I did love looking up some of the stuff about the fact that Divine played the mother, played
Yeah.
Edna, and
And so
of
that's
course,
they
played,
kept that running in the musical version
Right.
to always have a man play that character.
and then that's
So,
why
honor
Travolta
Divine.
plays
Yeah,
the role as well. Because at first I was like, did they have to do this? Because what? I mean, fine, it's fine. I think he does a good job. I'm not knocking the role, but it still was just like it seems out of place. But being that it's literally part of the succession
kind of
of
part
the
of
film,
Yep.
yes,
then it makes sense.
Yeah, I think on Broadway, John Panette, he's passed, but he was a comedian. He played the mother for a good stint too. So.
And didn't Harvey
Nice.
Firestein, he played the mother
I think so, yeah.
too?
Yeah, and what was interesting is that the Broadway play was after the movie, which is not always the case. Sometimes it's the other way around. But I
Yeah,
like
and
that it can
they're
go either
vastly
way.
different, and I think that's kind of why I want to recommend this, not only because of the discrimination aspect, but the fact that if you go back and watch the original, it's vastly different than the
Yes.
musical
Yeah.
to the movie. So yeah,
All right.
It's like the
That's good to know.
characters, the kind of themes, but like the execution, like completely. Yeah.
which
Well,
going
Waters
back is
was
hard
making
to
weird
watch
movies,
again.
So
Yeah.
I
Yes,
believe.
he
Well,
was-
John Waters films are they're very
campy, kind of
yeah.
weird, a little dirty, grimy, guerrilla style.
Crybaby is the one that I
Yeah.
saw as a kid.
I
That's
love
my
Serial
first
Mom though.
introduction.
Serial Mom
Yeah.
is a huge,
interesting.
huge favorite.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like at the end of the original Hairspray, Tracy comes out with a black and white dress, but it's got cockroaches on it. And it's like she does the song is called Do the Roach, I think it was called. So
Yeah.
so like yeah, it's
So
it's-
this
it's
update
definitely
is
different.
an almost needed update where they solidified it. It was a little bit more feels like the
More
real
mainstream,
60s.
kind
Right.
of really
Right.
hammering home like these themes of discrimination and
Right.
fat phobia and those kinds of things, and allyship and that kind of stuff are kind of
Yeah,
the
no.
big focal point.
Wildly
still-
progressive. right?
Yes. But I would still say it has a bit of a kind of campy vibe to it.
Sure.
You know,
Oh, yeah,
to,
it does.
absolutely.
to
Yeah.
kind of
there
honor
was-
John Waters.
I'm trying to do our best to like let Law come back so she could be a part.
Yeah.
But we, without getting too much into the meat. But one of the things that popped up to me as I'm watching it, I'm watching the main actress kind of go along in her intro, And I'm sitting there thinking, man, this reminds me of the Buffy episode where they did the musical and you get to see people not in the musical going, what the hell is going on? And I was like, okay, we need a full movie where it's about the people that are not in the musical, but watching it happen.
And just reacting to like, what are you doing?
Right. And it needs to be this girl's character where she's too positive, too over the top, a little annoying, like, because she is a little annoying. And then at the end, it's more of a horror movie because at the end she ends in her demise, and that I think would be a fantastic film where somebody
when you say that
and everybody's happy, right? Everybody's like, yes, she's dead.
When you say that, I'm picturing the time heist when they go to the Star-Lord part, and like when we saw it originally, like we hear the music that he's dancing to and it's so cool, and then when they're watching it, he just looks ridiculous because they can't hear the music he's listening to, and he's singing really badly and dancing really like just
that's like the sitcom,
and they're just like, this guy's
switches,
a loser.
right?
So that's what I picture when you kind of say, like, seeing the perspective of the outside people kind of looking at it.
I think the film would do well if it did both, right? Where it shows what we're seeing so they can feel like, oh, this is so aggravating. But even if it had all the music and the choreography, you could be like, how do they all know the dance? How do they all know the dance? Because of course my brain thought of that while watching this, and then my wife was like, "It's a musical trope.
It could be like an infection of some sort where everybody's like,
well, that's like Buffy. So that is literally the Buffy musical episode. Is a demon comes from hell, and actually he's the dancing demon. He's literally the one that Porky Pig encounters and deals with because he can dance so fast he'll die. That's literally what happens in this episode.
Wasn't there also like an episode of Star Trek that was like this too, where they all
but all of them were post Buffy, and that's what's so fantastic. Buffy was kind of.
I'm thinking about also Scott Pilgrim versus the World when like Anna Kendrick is like, what the hell is with like when Patel is like doing his whole like musical number, and she's just like, what is happening? Like, what is going on? Yeah, she's so confused. Yeah.
Okay, so since she isn't going to come back, I'll give my take since we know I haven't seen it. I was worried going in. I'm not. I struggle with musicals, not because I don't love them. When they're good, man, they are really, really good.
Yeah.
But when they're not good, they're cringy, and I hate to use that word anymore, but they tend to make me just feel like, whoa, what am I watching? So at first I'm watching this girl run along and like start her day, but then I start to realize they're kind of almost poking fun at musicals in a way.
Her singing to the rats and the drunk and
I was like, why are you feeding rats on the street? Right? I was so
like
angry
she
with
loves
her
junky little town. Like I love that.
Which is great. And I realized that the show, the corny
Waters,
that's it. He was the corny Collins show. I'm like, this is cable access. Like this is not like local a huge TV. Studio, right? And so I was surprised by the number of people that were in it. I was very happy to see quite a few people I didn't expect. The message is extremely important and very relevant today. And I ended up, the songs were okay, but the message at the end and the way it plays out, it has this beautiful, wraps it up nicely. I teary-eyed a little bit. I didn't like bawl or anything, but it still got me. So it drew me in enough to make me enjoy it. I don't think I'm gonna go back and watch it again because the songs weren't catchy enough for me. The musical needs to have songs that are so catchy.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising.
The one song I liked the most was the marching song that they did when they were actually marching down to the studio.
That's actually an original song I think they made for this movie. I don't think it's in the actual, they had it in the musical.
So I like the added song, not the original songs. I don't know. It's just the choreography is really, really good. I think that they play up the hamminess and the cheesiness. James Marsden is so
good. Yes. Bernie Collins is my favorite character in the movie.
He's so great. And I'm like, okay, so this is also an important thing to discuss outside of the film, where this is where when people ask, well, should white people be involved? Yes, you should be involved because you also have the power to help squash
so like
and
this kind of there's a line of like allyship and kind of white savior, and so this film kind of dances that line, but it definitely ends up leaning more towards the allyship and what you do with that and how you choose to use it. So I love that we get to see different characters use that allyship and use kind of their privilege to enhance another character in some way. They all kind of learn something. So we see it with every single character who ends up kind of having a moment of learning and doing something good in that way. So
I love it. Law, I see you're back. I couldn't tell you were back until I wasn't full screen.
I know.
Have you seen Hairspray before?
I've seen the original one with Ricky Lake.
Okay, so
I've
this
never
was your
seen this
first time
one.
here. So
I've seen
what did
bits
you
and
think?
pieces of this one. I thought I saw this one, and then when I watched it, I was like, I didn't see this.
Nope, I didn't see it.
I didn't see bits and pieces of this movie. Because I've seen the original one, this one is like a brighter, updated version of the original one. The original one is very
kind of gritty, grimy. It's
kind
kind of
gritty,
talk about John Waters style.
yeah,
kind of B movie, campy.
Kind of have this one be a more like upbeat, but still
polished.
Yeah, but still kind of like in the same vein of the original one. That was nice. Yeah, that was nice to have. I was my best friend called me when I was watching it, and I was like, I still had it planned because like I ain't stopping nothing for her. Like she get it, she gets it. But I was watching with her, and like this is like one of her like her favorite films. Like she enjoys this version of Hairspray, and she's like, "What part are you on?" And and I'm telling her that like what was it? Seaweed was like dancing or doing something, and I was like, "Listen here, folks. Elijah Kelly was like, I need this check." And I'm about to dance my heart out, sing my heart out, because Elijah Kelly was tearing it up. You understand me? He might have been like the best singer and dancer on that entire set. Like no offense to anybody else, but he was the best dancer and best singer. And the fact that his star isn't bigger than what it is,
right?
Speaks to what this movie was speaking to. Is all I'm saying.
Because I watched, like, I love him in Take the Lead. I saw him in this movie. Like, he is so incredibly talented. Why is he in Seaweed? Yeah.
On top of that, too, I think he was in, like, the Wiz live show. He played, like, the Scarecrow. So it's just, like, one of those things where I'm just like, he's talented. But overall, I thought this movie was, like, fun and funny. We talked about Amanda Bynes before we started recording, and I felt like she was hilarious in this. All her facial expressions, the pulling of her face. To me, she has great comedic timing. She always has, though, even when she was a kid, when I used to watch her on Nickelodeon, she always had great comedic timing. So, like, I just wish her the best in whatever, she moves forward going, however that is. But I thought she was great. Nikki Blonsky is so, like, she's just so...
What? What did you say?
Perky?
She's perky and bright. She's very bright. Yeah. Like she's like, "Good morning, boys." Yeah, like she's just so
it's like
bright.
Her personality is turned to 11.
Yeah, you feel me? Yeah. But it's like I found myself enjoying it, but also getting annoyed by it at different times. Like I was in and out with her character. Not to say that it like ruined anything for me, but it was just like sometimes I just need you to just bring it down to a sim. Bring it down to a sim. You know what I mean? Just a good little sim. Maybe an 8. But you were like, she was very much like here. But John Travolta as a mom is hilarious to me. Like Mama had body, you feel me? Mama had curves, you feel me? Mama was toyed out here. I digged it. But I also think that nobody could play that role but John Travolta because just how he played the role just seemed like something that like only he could do in a sense. So, just like how he brought her to life. Yeah.
I said this to my wife. I think the way he studied for this role was he watched him and Kirstie Alley in Look Who's Talking and then embodied her character in this.
I can see a little Kirstie Alley in there. Like real talk.
Sounds like her, kind of acts like her.
Yeah, but also his little accent was not Baltimore, but it was his own Baltimore. Like it was very. You feel me? It was a very Travolta Baltimore, and I was just like, I'm gonna let it ride.
I had a dream about running a coin-operated laundromat, but I came off that mountain.
You feel? I was just like, okay. She's like, when she said, "Oh no," she sounded like the pervert. Like he sounded like the pervert from like Family Guy. She was like, "Oh no." I was just like, okay, that's cool. But the whole time I was watching it, I was like, you can't have Christopher Walken in here and he's not singing and dancing. And then finally he sung and danced, and I was like, give me something because it's Christopher Walken.
Yes,
I don't know. Stinky cheese, though. I don't know.
Well, I saw an interview with him that was really interesting. Like someone talks about, like they were talking to him about kind of the impressions of him and like the very specific way he speaks, and he talked about kind of having a musical background and like that's kind of why he has this sing-songy cadence, because when he's reading scripts and when he's reading dialogue, he kind of interprets it almost like a song. So that kind of plays into how he speaks when he's delivering lines to kind of
Makes sense.
sound like music.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
He uses
But I was
cadence
like, you
without a
can't.
doubt.
I was like, you can't have him in this film if he don't sing and dance. And then finally he
Yeah.
started to sing and dance, and I was like, thank you so much for what I needed, because I needed
Yeah.
this. I mean, the themes of the film are there. It's obviously about segregation. It's about accepting of like plus size people. It's accepting of just not people of color, which is probably why I like the theme of Hairspray, because it encompasses everything, right? As a bigger girl, I love to dance. Anytime I'm somewhere and music playing, I'm in the grocery store dancing up and down the aisle because I just like music.
Yeah.
But like, I shouldn't get looks because I'm a big girl dancing, and like, you know what I mean? So like, to have her be like, yo, somebody got to change it sometime, and for Tracy to have like this very much like, you know, unshakable like faith
belief in what
herself.
she what she believes
faith in
in
herself and the
even if
people
people
around
tell
her.
no, you're gonna get in
Is
trouble,
like,
she doesn't
even
care.
her own mother is like,
Right.
don't when her mother is a dancer, is like a dancer, but you know, her mother is a dancer as well, and kind of probably push that aside because of I get it, right?
Yeah, and it
my
was
mom does
kind of
that for
nice seeing
me.
her insecurities as well.
Right.
Like she
Right.
Because
played
it's like,
that
There was
really
my
depth to
mom
well.
that
has done
character.
my mom has
Yeah.
done that for me as well. Like, it's been times where I think she's shielded me from things because she's been hurt by it. But it's like, you have to allow people to kind of, or sometimes to get hurt, to learn or to navigate this world correctly, right? Because if you protect your kid from everything, that's like an idealized version of the world, and that's
Right.
like a real world that they're living in. So like, for the mom to kind of step back and be like, okay, despite what I said, my kid still made it on TV, and if I almost stopped this from happening. You know what I'm saying?
Like when she
you know,
told her no, and then she sees her on the show, her excitement,
right.
it's so
Her
sweet to see.
excitement,
I was
you can
shocked
see
at
her
that.
so
Imagine.
I did
excited.
not
She's
expect
regular,
that.
finally.
Right.
Right.
No, like,
She's
for real,
regular.
right? She's regular finally.
I
And
love it.
see, but then that's your own like internalized
Yeah.
judgment of yourself based on other
Yep.
people's judgment of you. So like, this film has a lot of things in it that like a lot of people, no matter your race, color, or creed, can kind of like get into, because there is a mother that's religious, played by Ellison Janney. Like I said, cast was stacked. But like, they had like, you know, you have like the religious mother that's like, you tying your child up because of what? Because of what you think you're interpreting from the Bible, which is
Right.
what you're interpreting is false. So now you're putting falseness into your child, which hopefully she's around people that bringing her out of that. On
And
top of
she
that too, I just love
Yeah.
that she's married, like she's dating a black man. Because
she
I'm
don't
pretty
care.
sure mama mad about that, even though she read the Bible.
I
and,
think
like,
mom
the Bible
fell
talks
over
about
that table and had a
understand.
heart attack. Personally,
Oh
We'll
yeah,
never see her
absolutely.
again.
Trying to
but that's
scrub the
just
TV, that
my
wasn't coming
opinion.
off. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Janine,
Yeah. Overall,
Oh.
this was a great film overall.
I love it. Janine, tell us what you think about Hairspray.
Yeah, no,
2007.
I really loved this musical. I mean, that's why I'm really surprised when you said like the songs weren't really catchy. I thought the songs were incredibly memorable and catchy.
Same.
You know, all the work that went into the kind of that final piece. I watched kind of the behind the scenes, and they call that song "You Can't Stop to Breathe" because it's so intense.
Because it's so
all
intense,
the words
yeah.
and all the dancing you have to do at the same time.
Right.
So, you know, just a lot of work going into that finale. Yeah, I really loved the themes, how they executed them, the arc of John Travolta's character. I think he played into that really well. I had never seen, like, I enjoy John Travolta in things, but I never saw him as an actor with a ton of range. So to see him really kind of disappear into this character and you kind of forget it's him was really great to see him give a performance like that, and kind of the arc of confidence that, you know, that Edna gets by the end was really kind of just, you know, fun to see. I would have to say for me, like, Zac Efron was the weakest link. He like was not giving, I think, as much as everyone else. And like
I don't think he was giving much. If I'm being
yes, I
honest.
mean, early and like in the early stages of his career, I think he was definitely a pretty privileged actor. I think he has since developed and become really great. Like Iron Claw should have gotten an Oscar nomination.
He was a Disney
incredible in
singing
that
and
film.
dancing kid, right?
Yes, and he was still kind of in that vein. So he didn't really give it as much as I think he does now as an actor. So I think compared to the performances everyone else was giving, he was kind of the weakest one. Sure. But yeah, I think the songs are incredibly catchy. I love the themes. James Marsden was incredible. I'm like, Cyclops can sing like that? Like, when he gives that little run in the Hairspray song, I was I was, and like just his advocacy throughout the whole film, and like him wanting, why are you trying to fight this change? Like you should just rock out to it. Like I loved like all of his lines and all of his kind of fighting back and not being scared to like lose his job, and like his sass with Michelle Pfeiffer.
He did the line like
oh yeah, fire Cordy Collins from the
I was like, you
and they could. It could happen.
He did not care. So I loved his whole kind of allyship throughout the film. His singing, obviously incredible. It was such a fun surprise to learn how like that he could do that, because like oof.
Yeah, I thought he was just good at this, right? That's about all he
right.
I'm screaming.
That's all they gave him. That's all they gave him in those films. Like they did him
so disrespectful,
right?
I love
Marvel.
He's in the movie Sex Drive, and he plays the older brother who's a total piece of shit. And I love not his character, but I love his performance because it's so hilarious.
Right.
So
yeah,
I love
so
Mars.
Great.
Love him.
Yes.
MrMARVELite.
Please.
You suck today, man.
I'm terrible at it today. I'm like trying to find those wedges, and I'm failing at it. Go ahead, Janine.
I'm just sad Brian's not here, because him and me always geek out about like fun little film connections. So I love that we get a little Grease universe happening here with Michelle, John, and then we get a Batman Returns thing with Walken and Pfeiffer as well. So just fun little things there. But yes, really love this movie. Love the music, great performances, great themes, great execution. Like I said, it could have really, gone across that line of like white savior kind of taking over the whole thing. But the fact that we show more allyship, and the fact that like we get every character kind of having a moment of highlighting a Black character, like even at the end, Link, he was kind of hesitant to kind of be a part of this whole movement, and then at the end
he's the one that
Inez
he's the one that called it an adventure. He was like, this little adventure. I was like, when he said little adventure, I was like, no. This is their life. This is not an adventure.
Right. He goes, it's too big of an adventure.
It's too big.
And
she thinks he's talking about her size, and she gets her feelings.
I was like, girl, it ain't always.
You can tell he genuinely did not mean that.
He didn't mean it like that. Yes.
Yeah,
so
I was like, stop it.
He was being racist.
He was being
not
racist.
sizist.
Not you feel me? I was like,
yes. And great fun. I always love. Yes, and I really love when it's an interpretation of something else that we find a way to work in the original actor. So I love like Ricky Lake was in there. We got John Waters in there. We had Jerry Stiller in there. He was the original dad in the
Adam Shakeman, the director, was in it.
Was he really? Okay.
He was one of the
agents. He turned around with like the glasses and turned back around.
Yes. So I like kind of making a little nod to the original actors as well. So
the moment I saw Ricky Lake, I was like, yes, girl.
Yeah, you gotta have her. You gotta have her.
Yeah.
MrMARVELite, you picked Hairspray. Tell us what you think of Hairspray.
I'll be honest with you. When we first talking about like Wicked and everything else, and I was sitting there going, okay, the remake of, it being a musical, it hit Broadway, but it was a remake of a movie, and then, or of like an earlier source material. And then you get this film, and I got nervous because I'm sitting there going, as I've gone through my journey of like watching different films, especially when it touches on things like segregation and discrimination, you start getting really nervous about the whole white savior trope that gets put into these films. And one of the things that kind of like at rewatching it this time, I realized was you would think each of these individuals were the white savior, except for every time something happened, they may have been a part of it, but they were not the driving factor for it. And like, even at the end, when you think, okay, they were finally able to integrate the show, it wasn't because of what Tracy was doing. Tracy was just trying to show up and take on the girl because she's a fugitive. And it was only because, and it wasn't necessarily because Link, brought Inez in. People voted for that.
She got the votes. Yeah.
People wanted that. People wanted her. And it was this idea that, the oppression that was taking place throughout this entire film was because of people that were in power. They thought this. I mean, you had the ultra clutch guy who was like, you're the little commie girl, he called her, or the big little commie girl. Which
she has these kind of really liberal ideas that she's expressing.
But what she was wanting was the farthest thing from communism itself. You have this family that, they've got their own dysfunctions. I mean, you look at like, John Travolta's character as the mom and everything else. She's, she's reclusive. She's struggling. She's had her dreams broken, but she's right there supporting her daughter, you know, as she becomes,
Oh,
she's starting to
finally.
grow. But it takes time.
Mhm.
She has to
Yeah,
develop
it
that.
takes time. Absolutely.
That
Yeah.
dad, though, with Christopher Walken playing the dad,
So
um,
supportive.
so
But
supportive. Never thought I needed to see Michelle Pfeiffer and Christopher Walken in the same scene again, but
yeah.
loved it.
Yeah.
Him being the more
Him,
naive
yeah.
person and
Yes,
her being
not getting her
the
advances. Yeah.
yeah, all of that, like, I just that was so much fun. But then, like, no one has even mentioned this. I thought Queen Latifah as
Yes.
Motormouth
Motormouth
Maybelle.
Maybelle.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, I loved
So
her.
good.
I loved Inez.
Yeah.
Seaweed, one of the best songs in the entire thing with
Yeah.
him. You know, the darker the chocolate or the darker the
Yeah.
berry, the sweeter the juice.
Sorry,
Yeah. Run and tell that.
yeah.
Yeah. So
But
good.
the whole of all the songs, my favorite's the one right at the beginning of the credits. We've gone so far, but we've got so far to go. Like that, I've never wanted to sit through credits as much as I do. I never
listened
stop
to the whole
watching the
credits.
credits.
Yeah.
Like, you sit there and you listen to it. It's like, and you get chills when you think about this, because let's face it, we're living in a day and time where we need to be reminded of these lessons, even in a sing-songy, you know, definitely overly, you know, positive and but it's definitely one of my favorite musicals. I enjoy this a lot.
Yeah.
It's definitely fun, and I do agree with Janine. Link is the weakest link. I wasn't like, you know, they were using it for the name power because of High School
Yeah.
Musical at that point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amanda Bynes, though, I will agree, I loved every moment she was in the film.
Yeah.
And then
Even
to
though it
see what
wasn't a lot,
happened to her
my favorite,
after
yeah.
this film and what she did and what she's done to herself, like,
Yeah.
you feel so bad, because it's like,
Yeah.
I looked at that film, and when I first saw it when it first came out, I was like, you know, this is like the renaissance for her, that she's going to go off and do great things.
Yes. Well, even in Easy A, I think that was her last movie, and she was so funny and great
was
in that
perfect in that
film as like this
film, right?
crazy
Yeah.
Jesus freak character. I just watched it the other day, and so yeah, to just see kind of her now and just it's really sad.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's a
it
shame that
seems
even
like-
Nikki Blonsky, the Tracy
Yes,
Turnblad,
her.
she was up
she
and
could have
coming,
rode
and
this
then
wave. She could have
yeah.
rode
Well,
this wave, and
she
she
had a
shot
lot of
herself
hate.
in the foot. She
Yeah, but
no,
yeah,
she
sorry.
shot herself in the foot. Like, she got in a whole incident on a plane with one of the top model
Oh,
contestants.
okay.
Her family like threw racist slurs at the contestant, who's a black woman. She kind of like overinflated her relationship with Zac Efron and, like, you know,
Yep.
monopolized
I
interviews.
heard about
She
this,
was
yeah.
constantly
Wow, I
like
didn't hear about that.
bombarding celebrities on Twitter saying,
Yeah,
"Hey, this
she
is
was
Nikki
like,
Blonsky
"Remember
from
me?"
Hairspray." Yes,
Right.
like,
Oh.
lists of tweets of her. "Hey, this is Nikki Blonsky from Hairspray. Hey, this is Nikki Blonsky
Yeah.
from Hairspray."
And she's still been
in-
acting, but like not.
and so
it's like low
she
Yeah.
key
wrote
stuff.
this to do other great things, but she kind of made this her whole personality and
Right.
kind of tried to ride this little bubble, and it kind of led to her downfall. Now she's like, now like my FYP is just full of people kind of showing her cameos
Yeah.
and her like really leaning into this role, because that's,
Well,
kind
that's-
of all she's really.
See, she could have
It
learned
feels
from
like
Corey
this is
Feldman.
who
At least
she
have like
is,
3 or
like,
4
in a
movies
way.
first before you do that.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
So about Amanda Bynes' character in this film, I did watching it. I kept thinking, man, they're really they put her in pigtails and they made her suck on lollipops for the whole movie, which I felt like was just more.
Well, that was the
of,
character. I think that was kind of a thing.
And
of
I'm
the
not
character in
saying
the John Waters
that
movie
it
as well.
wasn't part of the story, but it's still in my mind. I'm like, man, really more of this for her. But I did look up
Infantilizing her,
exactly. But I looked up a little thing about this. So she eats so many lollipops in the movie that her father, her real life father, Amanda Bynes' father, who's a dentist, got really worried about her eating all these lollipops because she was eating like 40 a day through the whole filming. And she was like, no, I wasn't really eating them, but turns out she really was. She actually ate 40 lollipops a day for this role, which is don't do that to yourself. Nobody do that.
I mean, that'll mess up anybody. Listen, it'll be like this, and then once the scene is done,
I'm brushing my teeth.
That's getting tossed. I'm at least like
gargling some mouthwash.
You feel me? Something.
Some kind of dental health in between.
Something, baby. Some oil pulling or something. I'm doing something. Like, because that's a lot. That's kind of.
Or maybe wrap it in like a thin coating of saran wrap so it doesn't actually like come off at all and you can't see it on camera and you just keep using. Like, there are ways they could have gotten around it. But
my thing is, how long is it like
for a fake lollipop?
You feel me?
Right? Yeah.
Give me some, like, I don't need an actual. This don't have to be authentic. This part.
Yeah, we don't. She's not chewing on them. She's just putting them in her mouth. That's all she's doing.
Like, that's all she's
So-
doing. Like, stop the press. Y'all trying to kill my mouth for the
Aretha Franklin auditioned for the role of Motormouth Maybelle, but lost to Queen Latifah.
Oh, I guess they maybe wanted to go someone a little bit
She
younger.
probably lost.
Why doesn't Queen Latifah talk about that more?
Because they couldn't
Right?
afford her. Because she probably respects Aretha Franklin and don't want it to come off like I got this role.
Right.
Like, no,
By the way, speaking of Queen Latifah again in this movie, her with the blonde beehive.
Oh yeah, her hair is amazing. Her different hairstyles and her outfits too. Like the
The
costuming in
outfits
this movie is really
the
great.
costuming in this was crazy. The costuming in this was amazing. Yeah.
Can I just say I haven't seen a movie with Queen Latifah that I haven't liked.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Absolutely.
Well, I didn't like Taxi that much. I didn't think
I love
Taxi was
Taxi.
that
I
good.
still like Taxi.
I love
Come on.
Taxi.
It was silly, but it wasn't bad. It's not a revisit for me. I would revisit like last
revisit
I can
it.
see why Jimmy Fallon runs
would
a talk
revisit.
show
I
now
revisit
and
all the
isn't a
time.
star.
I revisit it all the time because
No, that's fair,
I
that's
just
fair.
enjoy the silliness of the film. Right? It don't take itself seriously. Because let's call a spade a spade. That ain't her on that bike. Okay, in Taxi? We know.
No.
That ain't her on that bike, baby. But it's hilarious. So.
But it
So
wasn't her
back
on the
to-
ski in Last Holiday. Let's face it.
No, but that's again.
Yeah.
But so
It
back
ain't
to
her equalizer
Hairspray.
either. I'm just saying. Go
You
ahead.
guys were talking about costumes. I thought that whoever found that block or those few blocks in Baltimore to film, that they had their work cut out for them because you had to find something that had barely changed, that you only had to do subtle changes to, and then bring in the
Like
cars.
That's
1962,
almost the
yeah.
whole of Baltimore, basically, though.
Really?
It's not. I mean, there are some places that are like updated and stuff, but there's a lot of blocks you can find that are pretty much the way they were back then.
Oh,
well,
nice.
that's good to know.
Yeah.
So they only had to do
It's
the
kind of like
gas station.
it's kind of like
basically.
if you want to do another Rocky film, I'm pretty sure you can still find
Crappy areas of Philadelphia. Yeah.
Exactly.
You're
Baltimore
not
is like
wrong.
that.
They
Yeah.
look the same.
Yeah. It is interesting that we're talking about a film who's trying to segregate Baltimore, or that has a segregated Baltimore, and now Baltimore is extraordinarily populated by Black people and people of color. While in the 60s it wasn't as much. It was much more of like that divide. So it's interesting to view these things through a lens.
But yet Baltimore still houses a lot of racial tension, though.
Oh no, I'm not.
No,
that was not what I was
absolutely.
claiming. Yeah, not claiming that. We live in America where.
No, thanks.
that's
But it's always
carte blanche now,
interesting.
like,
It's always interesting to see, like, because I think people do forget, like, how far we have come as a society, right? Even though, like, we're not as far as we should be in, like, 2025, like, we call them spade to spade. But, like, it's not the same. It's kind of like just flipped, but it's also a good reminder to be like, okay, I can walk down the streets without, like, just something happening to me because I look the way I look. Even though you might still get stares, depending on what area you in or things like that. Like, things have improved, and it's nice to kind of like have a filmography, as it would, of like that change, because people have put that into movies a lot, like different eras and different things. So it's nice to see that things have progressed, but it's also sad to see that they haven't progressed by much.
Yeah, I think I do love the
long.
fact that they did the end treatment for the show with "We've come so far, we've got so far to go," because a lot of people would look at it like, "Oh, show's over. We saved
we saved the
cured
day.
racism,"
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
It's not, but it's like, no, this is like
like-
This is only the
one step of
beginning.
many.
Yeah.
It's like this is only a section that you know about in the vast majority of the world. Like, this is only a section that you see.
Yeah.
And so, but it's you know, all in all, Hairspray is the bee's knees.
Yeah, I will say, like, they even, like, with the advertisements, the way they did things, like they did wrong, like in a good way, because they were really kind of pushing out. They made it tongue in cheek. Like, you've got Negro Day, and you've got Queen Latifah doing her old Motormouth Maybelle thing, and she's like, Negro Day is brought to you by Napa Way. I'm like, oh my
God,
goodness,
that was
Stubborn hair.
No, listen,
Stubborn hair.
her energy, the
And
way
her
Queen
gritting
Latifah
her
played
teeth
that,
to say
the
that.
way
Yeah.
she played that scene was so good, because she was just like, as always, you love it, and this was given to Napa Way.
Yep.
Right.
And
then the
threw it
flip
I
of
was
the
just like,
second card.
yeah, and then she's like,
Where they like almost force her to say it in a way.
Yeah. She played that really nice, because that's what it is, right? You want all the Negro things on the Negro station, and all like the white things, all the great white things on the white station. It's just like,
but then also stealing the song.
The song, yeah.
The girl,
yeah.
and then being angry because how dare you use
Why
the
you
big voice?
perform
They
the
wrote
same
it.
song? They wrote that
Because they
song.
wrote it.
Yeah.
Right,
Why wouldn't
right.
we?
It's their song.
That whole kind of
And
And then when she
honestly,
talked about their
so-
demographic,
the demographic, yeah. The whole time I was watching the scene, because I was like, oh, it's the same song, and I was watching the scene. I was like, this one better though. I was
right?
like-
It was kind of what we were seeing in like movies like Dreamgirls.
I was like,
and
this
stuff,
one.
that
You feel me? I was
little
like, this one better
appropriation.
though.
Yeah,
It was giving Bring It On though. Like, how you gonna steal my stuff and get mad at me? Because
right? Yeah.
like what?
I did just rewatch that. Boy, that movie has not aged as well as I thought it would. And that's yeah, that's still one of those good but problematic movies. All right, so we do have Wicked to talk about. I have a feeling that we're going to have a lot more to say about Wicked than we will
we can
Hairspray.
talk about Hairspray. I'm just saying, but
No, for sure. Now, one last question, Mr. MrMARVELite, before we rate, and I'll have you rate first for just why not. How many times have you watched Hairspray?
Oh, word. Worn out the Blu-ray a good bit. This is one of those films I've enjoyed. I've enjoyed watching this film, and my wife is a musical fan, and so we have certain musicals that we watch on a regular basis. This is on the cycle. It's Hairspray. It's Sweeney Todd, which I try not to look at the lip syncing as much because it's terrible. And Les Mis, and those are the three that will kind of get a cycle every year. And we've been
That's
doing
a
that
lot of
since,
heavy musicals. Like that's not like the material
light
is not light.
Yeah.
Wow, you don't throw like Chicago.
Hairspray is his Out of the Shadows.
No, I'll be honest with you. I haven't given Chicago a chance.
Oh,
but I need to, because I've seen a lot of clips
it's one
online.
of my favorites.
It's
man.
really
it's
good.
So good.
Yeah.
It's really good. If you
Not a
like
fan.
musicals, the wife likes musicals. It's really good. Yeah,
Not
you
a
know
fan.
he's not a fan. Yeah.
no, don't get me wrong. I do love the like the puppets song, the whole like puppetry sequence.
Yeah.
That song is fantastic, and there are good songs. I just didn't.
We
I
both
don't know. It
reached for
just
the gun.
doesn't.
Mhm.
I just don't think I like Catherine Zeta-Jones. I think that's what it boils down to. I don't know. I just don't. Or Renee Zellweger.
All right,
honestly.
who's next? Let's move
Yeah.
on from this conversation. Jeez.
All right, Mr. MrMARVELite. Before I get canceled off of the Real Study, could you tell me what you rate Hairspray?
It's a solid musical for me. I do like it. It's one of those musicals that if you enjoyed it, it definitely makes you want to go see it, like on Broadway or wherever it would be. I give it a 9 for I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's a very needed message. So yeah, definitely go watch it if you haven't seen it already.
Janine, what do you rate Hairspray?
100% agree. I give it a 9 as well.
All right, so Brian, you're taking Brian's place, is what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we all know Brian would have said 9 too. So yeah,
Right, he would have. How about you, Law?
I enjoyed this film. I give it an 8. It was a good film.
I'm going to mimic Law. I give this an 8 as well. This is a solid film, worth watching. If you don't like musicals, get over it and watch it anyway.
And I implore you to watch both of them, actually. Watch the Ricky Lake one and watch the Mickey Bonsky one.
I'm curious.
Watch the Ricky Lake one first, because I tried to go back and watch it after this one, and I have a hard time doing it.
I believe.
Yeah,
that.
watch the
That
Ricky
makes
Lake
sense.
one first, and then go to this one. Yeah.
All right.
It'll be like you
So-
stepping into Oz.
Do the Roach.
And just have an understanding of like John Waters' vibe.
Yeah.
in
Right.
his filmmaking,
No,
especially at
Maybe
that
watch
time.
another John Waters film first and then
No.
come back.
No, that's too
No.
much. Watch
Oh.
Hairspray first, and then go watch the other Hairspray. That's too much for the crowd. That's too much.
You can watch Crybaby. It's palatable.
Or Serial Mom.
Yeah.
I said that earlier.
Yeah,
Serial
or
Mom is
Serial
really
Mom.
good.
Yeah.
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 All right, so we're going to move on to Wicked, which is, of course, last year's major musical, and part 1, if you didn't know already, to a 2-part series that will be, the other one will be released at the end of this year. So that makes me believe they
Wicked
did film
good.
them together, so that's going to be
I'm
good.
sure they filmed them back to back for sure.
I had seen this before. Mr. MrMARVELite, you had seen this before.
Yes.
And Janine, you had seen this before.
Yes.
All right, so Law was our first viewer for this, so we're going to start with Law. Oh, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. What do you think of Wicked, Law?
No, I enjoyed Wicked. Like I told you, I cried. I cried at it. I thought it was a beautiful film. Not only is it bright, I want to say this one thing that just kind of like threw me off just a little bit, but it didn't ruin the film at all. It's just something I observed, and I hate observing things. When we finally get to like Glinda, everybody's like, hey, the Wicked Witch is dead. Like they pretty much pick, like it's the end of the Wizard of Oz, where they kind of pick it up at. It's like the end of the Wizard of Oz. So,
Yep.
I'm assuming they did this because of the original film.
The musical. Well,
Yeah.
the musical.
No,
That's
no,
how the
like
musical begins.
No,
but-
I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking about like I'm assuming they did this because of like the original film, because the original film looked like a set. This film in the beginning looked like a set. Like it
Oh, I see
looked
what you're saying.
fake to me, and I was like, this thing cost too much money for this to look like this. But I kind of just ignored it because the original one with like Judy Garland, like when she steps into Oz, it looks like a set. But for me, when I watched that movie, that's the magic of it. So I just like was like, maybe that's what they wanted to bring to this in the beginning. So I just kind of like ignored that. I was like, that looks. This is set. This is soundstage. I was like, it just looks very.
Well, I mean, they built a bunch of stuff
you know?
from scratch. They opted to try to use a combination of digital effects and practical effects, and build things like they planted all of those tulips out there.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the effort to kind of take this big area and build all of this stuff from scratch. So that's kind of what they did. So it's kind of just stuff built in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
so
and I
that's
feel
kind
like
of why
it
it looks.
It just looked very like you was on the Warner Brothers set. I know it wasn't Warner Brothers. Yes. It was like you was like on the set.
It was definitely giving the Munchkin Land from 1939.
No, absolutely. Yeah. So like that's why I felt like that aesthetic happened because of like the original. And I'm not saying it made the film bad. It's just something I noticed that I was just kind of like, oh,
I get that. I get that.
And I was like, oh, okay. And then I came back to the movie. Then I got back into the movie.
Well, if you think about it, like when you look at the original Wizard of Oz, there was this like different aspect and view of the opening of the film, and then as you got into Oz, things opened up and widened up and changed a little bit to make it more wondrous. I think that's kind of what they were going for with it.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the wondrous part. It just looks fake. Like it's not that it didn't
look like a bunch of stuff. A set.
It looked like a set. And like it's that's what I'm saying. I'm not like discrediting anything. It just looked like a set. I was like, this could have been done a little bit better with the budget that it was on. Now,
I know. I could tell the flying monkeys weren't real. I know.
You feel me? That was crazy to me. You could have bred some in the back. Like you could.
I know. You could have made real flying monkeys. Come on, guys. What are you doing?
But it was just like one of those things where I was just like, this was kind of the wink link of the film to me. If I had to like say it, like it was just kind of threw me off. But like overall, like we talked about the clothes from Hairspray, the clothes in this was like ridiculous. Like the costuming, even like when we got to like Shiz University, that set was like crazy and looked amazing and colorful. Like the Emerald City was ridiculous. Like just like the different patterns and clothes and hair, like that set was like beautiful.
Yeah, the train, they built that.
My God, the train, like that was beautiful. Just like the curvature of everything, like just the attention to like details and like minor things. Like if you looked at the walls in the background, there's like etchings and like things in the walls that are just
little
like,
bubbles
so
on her
beautiful,
dress.
right?
Yeah,
that are just, and it's a lot of nods to things like. I thought it was
her
very
hat
cool.
looking like a tornado,
right? And I like the daughter getting the silver slippers, but then she did hand her some red ones, but then tossed them. Like, so they have a lot of like creative ways of like trickling in like the Wizard of Oz for people to kind of like get those feels. I like the story of like Michelle Yeoh just being a bad person. I just love her kind of like
horrible.
Being, you know, I was kind of getting that, especially when they kept switching up words. I was like, she's gonna be bad. I was like, yeah, her name shows me she's gonna be bad. But I've heard so much about this film and so much about separate characters that when I watched it, I can understand where people were coming from. Like Nessa Rose, I want to punch her in the throat. Like I don't care if she's like in a wheelchair, I want to punch her in the throat. This girl been protecting you.
Yeah.
This girl
the running meme is she couldn't stand up for her sister.
Exactly. She couldn't. She couldn't.
Wow.
And I've seen that too, and I never understood it. And then I saw a picture of her, and I was like, people are diabolical. That was hilarious. But I wanted to punch her in the throat because this girl been standing up for you your whole life, and you like, I just wish I could have had something different, girl. Like, what are?
Yeah.
Like your life is perfection, baby. I understand that you're in a wheelchair, but like your life is great compared to your sister, and she's your older sister. Like she should be your best friend. This should be somebody that you're like with, but like you've been poisoned against your own. But like eventually she's wicked too, because like she's a sister for her.
Yeah.
We all know both of the sisters are wicked.
She's the house one.
She definitely get that house. I'm happy she get that house. That she need that house.
Yeah, and it falls on her legs, which is pretty effed up in my opinion.
And then her legs curl up.
Then her legs curl up like
that's
click.
pretty messed up.
She deserves it all.
That's dark.
I was thinking throughout the film, I was thinking like, it's kind of messed up that everybody is like looking at her because she's green, but y'all got talking animals. But then you find out that there's an animal revolt too, that they don't want the animals to talk. They try to shut that down. So like, I was like, okay, this is all trickling down, making sense. I will say it's a beautiful story in the sense of like, if you look at these two women that come from two different sides, two different ways of living, thoughts, can still come together and find like commonality against, to each other. They can find friendship and a bit of love. It's a little bit of lesbianism there. I don't care what nobody says. It's a sprinkle of that somewhere in there. Not saying that they can't be like women can't be friends, but I think they started to love each other a little bit more than just them being friends. And it wasn't like an overt thing for me. It wasn't like an overt like I love you, but it's just like gentle touches to the face, things that you would do, certain things you would do with a lover, like. Cause this just me. I'm not stroking my best friend's face. If she's sad, I'm gonna be like, here go my shoulder. But I'm not wiping tears and stroking faces. I feel like you do things like that when you're intimate with people, and I could be absolutely wrong, but that's just how I see it. I liked their progression of like learning to trust each other. Learning to trust each other, learning to balance this. Like I don't really know about her, and I don't know about her, but it's. Because even in that song, like there's something, they never said what the something was. Like y'all, it's something. It's because y'all attracted to each other. Not to say that they still can't be attracted to Fierro or whatever, but it's not. I was like, it's something. Y'all can't even pinpoint what it is. I was like, I'm blocking the T. But I will say I could punch.
It could have been the desire to fight fascism. I'm just saying.
It could be, sir. But I disagree. I wanted to punch Glenda in the face because she's not. I don't think
Glenda or Galinda.
Galinda.
Both of them. She's still the same person because you let these people build an effigy and burn it of a person that you actually cared about. Like I don't know. I just found that
you got a part 2 coming. So
absolutely. So we're
going to see why they have a falling out.
But it makes you feel bad for the Wicked Witch, but not really because you didn't have to turn into, because this ain't Wicked for, the second movie is Wicked for Good, which means that obviously she stays this way until Dorothy comes in and, what a world and water and all that type of stuff. But like, you essentially,
I love how you just summed that up.
Of that. Yeah.
Right? That was beautiful.
But you like, essentially like these people pushed you to the brink of just your humanity, right? And it's like people have that power in real life to push you to a place of darkness that you never thought that you could ever be in, right? And like I've been pushed there by somebody like in the last year where I had to like distance myself from family because it turned me into like a monster that I didn't want to become, right? So watching this,
was it Snitty? It's okay if it was Snitty. You can say it.
No, hey Janine, I'll talk to you after the show. There's just some things. I can't say no. But it's just like just to watch her kind of be like, you know what? I think she had her let it go moment where she's like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm tired of all this. Yeah. I'm tired of like everybody telling me what to do. I'm tired of trying to fit into this box of what everybody wants me to be. And since y'all already think I'm something evil, let's turn it up then.
Let's ride. You know what
I'm saying? I'm a be what you want me to be then, right? I got all this power. You wanted me to like. They literally wanted her to be a flying monkey in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Because they wanted to use her. They wanted to use her ability, her power. And the first time she felt accepted, it really wasn't to be accepted. It was to be used. So like, I probably would have went evil too. You know what I mean? But I will say the dance scene was awkward and beautiful. That scene actually made me cry. That was one of the things that made me cry. And Defying Gravity made me cry because it's a beautiful song. It's super quiet because it was a moment where Galinda was like, okay, I think I'm doing too much. I think that's her first realization that she was you're not as nice, you're not as good. Right. You're not as good as you think you are. Right. You're not as good as you like. Her character was a mess.
As people tell you are. Yeah.
Right. But she keeps telling people she is, and it's like no good person tells you that they
would have to say that as much as
you know what I mean? Yeah. Like nobody has to say that they're good that much to truly be good. So like yeah.
All right. Janine, what did you think of Wicked this time around?
Yeah, no, really enjoyed this. For the first time I saw it, I decided to go see it in 40X. So
Ooh,
Nice.
that's
okay. She
all the
So
fancy.
flying, I was
flying,
defying gravity.
Gravity.
Nice,
Ooh.
love it, love it.
Look who's popular. Okay. Oh.
But I loved all the things you were saying, Law, about kind of her kind of just getting fed up with what people were kind of saying about her, what they were kind of the box they were trying to put her in. Because I like that we don't see her not, take in what people, she doesn't ignore that, like she takes it to heart what people think about her. Like she cares what people think about her, but it's a point where she kind of decides to overcome that. So I like that human insecurity of like, we're not gonna make her like this person who just doesn't care about what people think about her. We see her care, we see it affect her, but she overcomes that. So I like
but
that
it builds up into a point where she's like,
exactly, I'm gonna be everything you want me to be. So deal with that. Exactly. Yes. You made me this thing. Yeah, so I love that aspect of the story. I actually have seen the musical. I saw it, I think, in my 20s. I saw a performance of it in San Francisco. So I do know where the story is going. I do know kind of what ends up happening. So I loved the little nods that of what things lead to and kind of where characters are going. I love the little nods that we got of that in this film for people who know kind of what's coming. I thought that was kind of fun. I liked the music was really great. I love the I'm Not That Girl song. That song was kind of like my emo girl anthem of my teens and 20s. Yes, like that was me. Like, because of how I looked and because of like my status in school, like I wasn't popular. So the guy I liked would never like me. He would always go for the popular girl. So like that song is just bringing up all the kind of, teen emotions that are still kind of in there, those insecurities. So I loved a whole song about that, and she performs that beautifully. I loved hearing Jonathan Bailey talk about when she sang that song in that set, like there was kind of like open scaffolding above, and the birds were just kind of like singing along with her because her singing was so beautiful. Like they were like tweeting along with her singing that song. So yeah, beautiful music. I love the story. I'm excited to see like, how they interpret kind of what's coming. And this film really established, I think, all of that and put us in a good place to go to the next step of things. Just I really love this movie.
So. Am I right to deduce that Fiyero is a scarecrow?
Spoiler.
Oh, is that a spoiler? Because he's a scarecrow.
I mean,
right?
nobody's seen the second movie.
I haven't seen the second
movie.
And I haven't seen the musical yet. So
okay, because I haven't seen the musical, but I'm assuming he's a scarecrow because he's the only one that didn't fall asleep when the poppies happened. And guess who that happened to in the Wizard of Oz?
Well, that's just you using deduction, which I love.
I mean, because people could definitely read that as that, or they can read it as, her emotions are what drive her magic. And she maybe wanted to be with Fiyero in that moment. And so that's why her emotions drove it to
not to mention that they saved a little lion cub.
Right.
Who was scared, so that was obviously the cowardly lion as a baby. Like the whole time, I was like, "What are y'all doing?"
But I think those are nods, just like when she in the first song,
and like even when she puts the cub in the basket and it pops out and they're riding the bicycle. That is
a nod.
But even in her first song, right? In
because they mimic her after the
Elphaba's first song. There's like 7 references to the Wizard of Oz in the song.
I love that. Like she's like, in that song, she's talking about there's going to be a big parade celebrating me and
celebrating me and the change I make. Right? And I'll be a puddle of water or something like that.
She's like, I'll melt.
I'll melt. That's right.
I'll melt. And then that's when Madame Marvel was like on the other side of that. She was like, gotta make sure you don't get wet. And part of me was like, would she even melt now? Like, would she even melt now? Because
I think she
water is pure.
Girl,
water
if you want confirmation on anything, just message me inside. Okay,
I'll
confirm these little sprinklings of things.
Yeah, try to avoid the full
for you. Just one last thing, like yes. I was so confused about the discourse that was coming out of Cynthia Erivo playing this part, because who is going to understand the color issues in this film other than a black woman? So so a black woman playing this green character who's discriminated against because of her skin color, why would it not make sense to have a black woman play that part? So
were they mad at her for that, or were they mad at her for that poster?
I think
Yeah.
it was that, but I think that lends to the
That
portrait.
also there was
What
also a
better
lot
to
of
play a
discourse
person
of
of color
her
than a
playing.
person of color?
Yes, because it's like, and she's green, so it's like there was a lot of discourse of like, yeah, because
okay.
only white actresses had played her up to that point.
Right.
So we finally, I think, in the
And
musical,
it
we
really
had
All I
hasn't,
can say is
because
they need to let it
it was
go.
a Latino woman. It's a Latino woman that played her. Maya Ruiz played Elphaba in a production of Wicked, as it kept going. So like, I need people to research before they.
But I mean, even the musical like aspects are different than films, because I think Beauty and the Beast did like the special anniversary stage special where her played Belle and nobody cared.
Right.
But in Beauty
Cynthia
and
Erivo, will play
But as soon as you make it a mainstream 4-tier film, it's a problem.
Exactly. But then
the
Little
problem.
Mermaid, it's like, oh, up in arms. But yeah, so that was just a weird thing for me to like see this discourse of Cynthia Erivo getting this part. And even with Ariana Grande, like people were kind of complaining about her casting as well, because I don't think people know her as an actress, but I watched Victorious, and I know she has great comedic timing.
I was like, she's an actress.
Incredibly, yes, she was incredibly funny on Victorious. She had great comedic timing. She trained for this role her whole career. Like she saw this play as a little girl with her grandma. Yes, she became good friends with Kristen Chenoweth. Like she was her mentor.
To bring up Ariana Grande,
she changed her whole vocal performance. Like she changed from like kind of her pop range. She changed her whole vocal range to play this part. So she put a lot of work in. She's been kind of studying, building up to this role her whole career. So for people
I can
to
tell because they're
diminish that because they don't know her as an actress was kind of like disappointing.
There's certain notes she hits that sound like Kristen Chenoweth, and I was like, she sounds like Kristen Chenoweth, because I've heard Kristen Chenoweth sing all these songs. Like I've heard her, and I've never seen the musical, but I've listened to, because I love Kristen Chenoweth as an actress, but also as a singer. Like she's phenomenal. So like certain notes that Ariana was hitting, come on, not even before that, but before that though, hey, cool. But because she was on Glee for a while too.
Adina too.
Adina too, right? Like so, but to hear Ariana hit some of those notes, I was like, oh, she must have her and Kristen Chenoweth must have like had conversations. They must have talked. They must have hung out, because I can hear a bit of that inflection in her voice. But I will say though, Ariana, as much as I don't like Galinda and Glinda, both of them, they the same person. The moment I don't like, just because I don't like the character, I think Ariana did amazing in this role.
Amazing job. Yes.
I think I thought she was funny. I thought like her inflections, the way she moved her body, the different things that she did, her physical comedy was amazing.
So great.
I was like, no, the thing where she kept doing that.
Oh, that's awesome.
And she was like, no, I like the air, I like the air, I like the air. I was just like, something is wrong with Ariana Grande.
Something bad just happened. I didn't get my way. I love that.
Yes. And even Cynthia, doing the wire work and being able to sing through those kind of big turns and all those kind of things, and that she did a lot of that herself as well.
And the fact that they were actually singing, that it was not lip syncing, this was actually singing through the production. Yes.
Yeah.
How did they record that? I'd like to know, but that's a whole nother conversation. MrMARVELite, what did you think of Wicked, and how many times have you seen it at this point?
15.
I have seen it twice. So I actually came into this whole thing blind. I didn't go to the theater to see it. We were going to, but then other stuff happened in life.
Like it does.
Medical stuff and everything. Yeah. And so we didn't go to see it. We ended up watching it when it finally came out on Peacock Plus, and my son fell in love with it instantaneously.
Oh, nice.
The moment when she's got Elphaba on the ground and she's singing Popular and she's kind of like scooting herself around her.
Yeah.
My son just cackles, and every time he sees it, he loses control and laughs. And so like it was always fun. It's fun watching, the family watch the film, but at the same time I'm sitting there watching and I'm like, realizing like the Glinda doesn't have the magic. You realize certain things that happen at the beginning and like what's promising to happen in the future. You realize that
Horrible's kind of meddling and like her interest in Elphaba.
Yep. And I think part of the fakeness of the beginning is for the fact that I think Glinda still doesn't have power when this ends. And of course I'm going blind. I haven't seen the musical or anything like that, but like I keep thinking it's all a fake production, just like the whole the wizards little thing where he's playing with the moon, which is absolutely fake, and he's trying to subvert their reality. but then like just the oppression of the animals, and I'm sitting there going,
Yeah, and
being
they
an
didn't feel
American
that
that comes
way.
into a wondrous land and
Yeah.
teaches them oppression and
Yes,
discrimination.
because
Like,
they didn't feel that way about animals until he came and told them that we need to get rid of them.
Yep.
exactly.
And he's a
Um,
snake oil
feels
salesman as well.
very,
Let's just be
yeah,
very clear
yes,
about that.
very familiar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now-
it's a little too on the nose.
Yeah.
This was my my first introduction to Cynthia Erivo was actually Bad Times at the El Royale,
Yes, me too.
and phenomenal.
It's the one that Janine's been bringing up for like 7 episodes.
I
Just saying,
I
anyway.
love that film. I
Yes.
loved her part in it.
And her singing.
And
Oh
just the
my
singing
God.
and so
Yeah.
I'm sitting there and like if you had any misgivings about her being Elphaba, when you hear her sing, it doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
she's the only Elphaba I will think of like moving forward. She just did a phenomenal job. And the relationship, the first attention between her and Glinda, and then the friendship, though I may not have like interpreted it as being coded like Law says, but there's this, I see this like they've never had real friends.
Yeah.
Glinda's only ever had superficial
Like
attachments
lackeys. Yeah.
and lackeys,
And people telling her
Cynthia's-
what she wants to hear.
and
Yeah.
Cynthia's never had anyone that's been willing to just accept her for who she is, and they found that between the two of them. And I think there's a bond that's caused by that makes it so important. And to see like at that end, like they go from this whole point where it's like, I hope you're happy now, and there's an anger and tension at one point, and then there's the actual thing where they're genuinely hoping that the
when
other
they
will
know they're about
find
to be
happiness.
separated, they're like, y'all both be happy, like because
Yeah,
they're about to separate. Yeah,
and the fact that even Glinda knows at the end, like, you know, they would be invincible together,
Yeah.
like they'd be unstoppable, but she can't do it. And it's
Yeah, her
like
integrity
it's
is
like
too
that.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, oh man, it gives me lots of feels. It made me more excited to go see, you know, the next installment in theaters. And I love Jeff Goldblum playing like a sleazy guy.
Yeah, he's great.
It was just fun
That
that
was great
way.
casting.
Michelle
that's
Yeoh, yeah,
crazy. It's her whole papa right there.
yeah, but
Yeah.
just yeah, I mean, and even Peter Dinklage, like
Yeah,
being the professor, like
Dr. Dillerman. Yeah,
yeah,
Mhm.
like just like you see the struggle with the animals and everything else. I thoroughly enjoyed this film.
All right.
Yeah.
This was my second viewing as well. I saw this literally was the very first film I watched this year, which was a great start to the year.
Yeah,
This has and hits a lot of the same tones that Hairspray does, but for me, the music in this is far superior, and the production is even more so. Like, not that what Hairspray is bad, but just I think it hits in the way because it's such a fantasy film, but it's still saying all the same kinds of things about our world, about
Yeah, it's lyrically
discrimination,
thoughtful,
about
and all the
Right.
nods in the songs as well to kind of like
Love
Wizard
those.
of Oz things and all
Right.
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
But the fact that it parallels our current timeline in more ways than I'd like to admit is interesting, and especially when it comes to the animals and discrimination of the animals. You know, obviously Elphaba herself, but just the things that that literally the Wizard of Oz talks about. You know, about people wanting to need to be controlled, and how
demonizing the
you
truth.
have to and then demonizing people is the way to do it. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm
Give
just
them
like,
a common
man,
enemy thing.
Right.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, or common focus, which is like
Right.
for us, it's racial
The
relations.
misinformation,
Common
yeah.
focus.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think this movie is more important than people give it credit. If you're unwilling to watch it, I think that says a lot to me immediately. If you're not even willing to give it a chance. Other than the fact that maybe it's a musical, because again, there's a lot of people that hate musicals.
Yeah,
think
I
people
wouldn't
need to
put
get
too much
over
into that because some
But there are people that
just
are like,
don't like
ugh,
musicals.
Wicked. And it's like, well, no, like, if you don't like
there's some
musicals, tell me
bigger-
that. But
yeah.
if you're not saying I don't like musicals and you won't watch it, I
There's
have
some
questions.
bigger real world themes in here that you could really get something out of and
Agreed.
Absolutely.
illustrate
I
as
will-
well.
I find the music is very like I said before. I think it's very catchy, and Defying Gravity. I was singing along with, even though I had never heard the song before. But by the third
Yeah.
chorus or fourth, like I'm singing with it. I did not
Yeah.
find that in Hairspray, and that's to me the difference in as far as musicals go, and what will draw me in and what.
How many times have you seen Hairspray?
Once.
It was his
This
first
my
time
first
too.
time,
Yeah.
yeah.
Watch it again.
You've come
Nope.
so far, but you've got so far to go. Man.
I'm good.
I'm
I'm
just
good.
saying, you watch
I
the
didn't.
fi- you
If
watch-
I think a song is going to
watch
be
it
catchy,
twice.
I'll usually notice it pretty right away because I'll be humming along or singing the chorus, like I said, second or third time. Or like when I was young, I would try to sing along before I ever heard the whole song. I don't know why I did that, but some
I
people
feel like
do.
all
We're
kids
weirdos.
did that to some degree.
Right.
I will say
Right.
for the production of Wicked, I think it had more hurdles in the sense of like this is a film based off of a production, loosely based off of a book,
Book.
loosely based off of a
Based off
movie
of a
that's
film, yes.
loosely based off of another book.
So
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
the layers
weaving.
of that. Because yes, this
Right.
book was taking things from both the 1939 film and Frank L. Baum's original books. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I definitely think that the next one is going to be great, but I it's going to be very Empire Strikes Back. While this has an uplifting ending in a sense because you're like she's taking it, she's doing it for herself, she's taking her power. At the end of the next one, we know that's not going to be the case.
Yeah,
and it's really going to make me bummed out. But hey, I just hope that we're all in the right headspace when we get to that film.
But I'm just saying that I can't be friends with anybody that calls me like an artichoke. I'm just saying I don't.
Well, yeah.
I don't care. I don't care what hat you give me. I don't care what boy you gave to my sister. Even though you gave my sister a boy that you knew that was in love with you. So essentially you hurt my sister at the same time trying to be good. But
yeah.
But
the sister's reaction to it was like she did something nice for me, which prompts her to do something nice for her, and then this is how they become friends.
Oh, I want to say this because my wife always points this out every time we watch this film. Jonathan Bailey used the same horse that he used in Bridgerton.
In Bridgerton, yes, as his horse. Yeah,
I
he's great.
Right?
Yes, I'm so happy
but
for
I
him.
mean,
People say nothing but wonderful things about him, just being this great person, very loving and giving.
I miss that in Hollywood. I miss
incredibly talented and yes,
I need more Keanu Reeves in this world. So we need more.
Right, we need more of those.
Nice,
so it sounds like he's going to be in Rebirth. So Jurassic Park Rebirth. Am I right about that?
Yes,
he in that? Yes. So that'll be interesting to see him in that as well.
Are you avoiding trailers or news or?
No, I've watched every stitch of anything I can find on Rebirth. Now, Aina has not watched the trailer at all, so let's not say anything even on here because I don't want to spoil it for her. She's trying to avoid everything about it, which good luck in a world like today. I had Last of Us spoiled for me already, and that sucks, but it is what it is.
I gotta finish that game.
So before we rate, I want to bring up next week because we are out of time. But next week is going to be May 4th, which is, of course, Star Wars Day, but it's also MrSniDBit's birthday. So I'm thinking maybe we should do the two off the wall, off the mainstream path Star Wars movies. So we'll do Solo and Rogue One. And I was going to see if, because they don't need to be plugged in there. They can just be watched independently.
I own the both. I've never seen Solo.
I do too. You never watched Solo?
Really?
I've never seen Solo. I wanted to, but I just never had like the inkling to do it. So I've never seen Solo, but I've seen Rogue One. Rogue One is amazing.
All right.
Yes, there's one line of dialogue in Solo that it made me never want to revisit Solo again because of this one line of dialogue.
Here's what we do. I got a game.
And
now.
I loved Rogue One, so
I got a game now. We got to figure out what that line is. So when we watch Solo,
oh yeah, don't tell us. We'll watch it and figure it out.
We got to figure out what that line is because I want to see if I can get it.
All right. Because now I'm curious, but I did think it was appropriate to do a Star Wars movie on Star Wars Day, but also I wanted to pick the movies for your birthday, so we will be doing Star Wars on Star Wars Day. Hey, check that out. All right, let's rate this film. Lala, what do you rate Wicked?
I'll give Wicked an 8. I thought it was good. I thought it was really good.
Nice.
Can't wait for part 2.
2 8s for the evening. How about you, Janine?
Yeah, 8.5.
8.5, less than Hairspray. I did not expect that. And then MrMARVELite?
I'll be honest with you. I didn't want to watch this movie originally because I'm apprehensive when people are so wildly excited for something. Mind you, that's why my wife had to make me watch the Eras Tour too. But at the same time, we thoroughly enjoyed it. It's grown so much on me. I give it a 9 still.
All right.
Yeah.
I rated
it that just because for me, I just don't. It's a part of a whole, and you feel that, so that's why.
Yeah, they could really flub it up in the other one. That could probably change everything.
Yeah, that's a good point. Point. I gave this an 8 on Letterboxd. I still think that is what it deserves. I think this is a solid flick. The only thing I give it over Hairspray is the music. I think is just more catchy for me. But both great films. Both should be watched.
Oh, also, I just want to shout out the choreographer for Wicked is Christopher Scott, and I learned about Christopher Scott from watching So You Think You Can Dance all these years, and to see him kind of go from like the small goings to like So You Think You Can Dance to directing like a freaking blockbuster Academy Award winning like movie. I think that was pretty dope.
Well, even John M. Pugh doing
absolutely
dance
big
movies.
You feel me? Like of all people, like they think.
Doing all the Step Up movies, and then
I just want to shout out Christopher Scott for that because the dancing was phenomenal, but also like the sequencing and like the weaving in people in and out and people being up top and doing things like it was very intricate choreography, and to have a vision of that scale is for any choreographer is pretty dope. So I just want to shout out.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, he did Gem as well. I never saw that. All right. That said, this has of course been episode 27 of the Real Study season 4. We really appreciate you. One of our longer episodes, but when we have MrMARVELite and Lala together, it is always a longer episode.
It is a longer episode. It's very true.
Always, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for joining us, and we will see you next weekend for Star Wars Day. Have a great night.
MrMARVELite got a podcast coming up called The Long One.
it's a